6 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. In the final game of the wild card round, the Los Angeles Rams sprinted to a 28-0 lead and cruised to a 34-11 victory over the Arizona Cardinals. Matthew Stafford went 13 of 17 for 202 yards and 2 touchdowns, also ran for a score. It was the first playoff win in his career. Meanwhile, the Rams defense forced 2 Kyler Murray interceptions, including a pick 6 by David Long Jr. No, not that David Long. The Cardinals had only 183 total yards. To the ice, St. Louis defeated Nashville 5-3. The Preds have dropped 3 in a row after winning 5 straight. And to the hardwood tonight, number 24 Tennessee, the Masked Vols, will be at Vanderbilt and Memorial Gym. 8 o'clock will be the tip. 7:30 pregame right here, courtesy of the Vol Network. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home of the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5. The Zone.
There is something new that I know. Would you mind if I shared it with you?
Please.
I know who the most valuable player of the Arizona Cardinals is. They call him Nuck.
Oh.
His last name is Hopkins. Only Hopkins I saw on the field last night. That was cool to see him out there. But it was not DeAndre Hopkins.
Which one was it?
Who clearly tight end for the Rams.
Oh.
That would be Bryson Hopkins.
Correct.
Bryson, yes, you're right. Dad was on the show yesterday.
Exactly. DeAndre Hopkins is the straw that stirs the drink.
Mm-hmm.
Because Kyler Murray, without DeAndre Hopkins, doesn't even look like a top 15 quarterback in the NFL.
Did you hear the drop that Booger had last night, too, at halftime, if you watched it?
I went to sleep before halftime.
He said, "What in the Carson Wentz?" And I was just thinking to myself, if that ain't TV gold,
That's disgusting.
I don't know what is.
Look, J.J. Watt after the game says, this season was a failure. Shh, quiet. Quiet. How deep I got exactly. For you to pipe down. I saw it in my head before you hit it.
Yep.
Phrasing.
That was good.
It's going to be that kind of day, I feel like.
Well, at least we know what show we're having
I'm
today.
going to be real with y'all.
You're the only one wearing a hood. I didn't even put a hood on today. You know why?
Why?
Because I'll tell you during the break. Anyway.
Let me tell y'all, I woke up at 2:30 this morning because I drank a crap ton of water yesterday. Had to go to the restroom at 2:30 in the morning. Guess who didn't really go back to sleep?
I understand that completely.
I have that happen all the time. I need to take some saw palmetto or whatever it is that Theismann and Joe Namath are repping these days.
And my doors on the truck didn't close this morning.
Yeah, my first world problem was I could not remote start my car because my mirrors that fold in when I lock the doors had frozen, and so they would stop when they tried to start the thing, and the engine was like, "Nope, not going to turn on. You're going to need to unfreeze these first."
I was ready to. I was ready to get in my truck, and this is 2017 F250. I guess the suction cups or whatever it is that closes it magnetically did not close, and I'm banging my door like close, and I'm like, golly, not today, not today.
I got in, and I was trying to decide if I was going to make a espresso capsule or two, or if I was going to go to Starbucks. I hadn't gone in about a week. And I was like, maybe once a week I usually would get something.
Yeah.
And so I was all set, got in the car to make the order, and realized, I can't leave for 10 minutes because of everything. We got a little bit more snow than people in the city and people north. Mm-hmm. So you can still see a lot of it on my car right now. And apparently we're getting more tomorrow. So, about them apples.
I didn't know if it was going to be snow or just rain.
No, it's supposed to be snow.
God.
But it's not supposed to be like these last two events.
Okay. All right.
But we might get a little bit more aesthetic
Aesthetic
stuff. And it could switch to rain. Who knows? But National Severe Weather's email yesterday said it's more snow Wednesday.
Let's roll. Let's friggin' roll, Jason.
Well, speaking of snow, it was cold for the Cardinals last night.
Yeah, it was.
Because the Rams disrespected that. Stafford only threw 17 passes in the game.
Didn't realize that.
2 touchdowns and a rushing touchdown. Only had 4 incompletions.
Him and Odell's, Stafford and Odell, first time both of them having a playoff touchdown. That blew my mind. That blew my mind. There is no way you would have told me 12 years in, Matthew Stafford, 13 years in, Stafford had his first touchdown in the NFL in the playoffs.
So we know what we have to deal with in the divisional round of the playoffs. You've got Green Bay, San Francisco. Yes, please. I'll take that all day long.
Yeah, give me 2.
You've got Rams in Tampa Bay. Yes, please.
Yes, please. Who got who first? I forget.
Brady plays Sunday.
No. I'm talking about who won that first matchup. Didn't Rams?
I think maybe the Rams did win that game.
I'm looking at it.
I can't remember if that's true or not.
They lost to the Rams.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Rams won 24-34. Ooh.
So, and then the AFC, of course, you got Bills, Chiefs, and you've got Titans, Bengals. So how about them apples?
Big time.
I'll watch all 4 of those games with bells on.
Big time.
But Watt's saying this season was a failure. I don't need to hear from J.J. Watt, who's been out since I don't know how long, and then came back, played in the game, and he's the one that speaking for the team afterwards.
He doesn't deserve to have that conversation.
He shouldn't be the one talking.
No.
Somebody wants to talk, it should probably be Cliff Kingsbury.
Yep. I'd love to hear more from Kyler.
Yeah, but he doesn't talk after losses.
If you want to be a franchise guy, he better learn to.
Again, that's why I said I'm taking Tannehill over Kyler, because I think Tannehill talks more. I mean, here's Kyler talking right here. So he did speak last night.
We did say that yesterday, too, taking Tannehill over Kyler.
Just as I feel like Tannehill's more of a leader at this stage than what we've seen from Kyler. And Cliff Kingsbury and that offense, 40 total yards in the first half. 40.
Yeah.
You wasted my time last night, Arizona. Because that thing was never in doubt. At 14-0, I knew that game was over.
Yeah, I
just
knew
like
it
with
was
the
over.
Bills Patriots, I knew when Micah Hyde picked off Mac, they came back down the field and scored. I knew that game was over.
Yep. And just watching them yesterday, the Cardinals,
bro.
They couldn't
Look at that. You see that?
10 loss. Wow.
10-2, and then 1-5 since Nuck went out.
Who's the MVP for the Cardinals?
With a point
again?
differential of +9 to -10.
So they're giving up the
It's
ball.
obvious who the best player on that team is.
Golly. And the Cardinals had way too much steam. They ran through people the entire year. That defense was very solid. I thought without JJ, they still performed well. I'll say this too, as bad as the game, well, I ain't gonna say as bad as the game that LaJuan had that first week, Chandler Jones hadn't done much since. And he's going to command. Somebody's still going to pay him to play, to play his position, and deservingly so, because his past. But he didn't do much since week 1. He didn't close a couple times yesterday in the game. Last night in the game against the Rams, he was right there at him and couldn't close it. It's a bad showing, but I think offensively for Arizona is the biggest story for them. They simply couldn't get it done. Odell Beckham, though, for the Rams, had one heck of a night for himself. That stutter corner of the end zone touchdown he had was a thing of beauty. I got to give it to him. I saw our guy Ryan Clark tweet out last night, "Dear Cleveland, OBJ wasn't the problem." And it's clear right now, too. And as much crap as I gave Stafford yesterday and just saying he's not the guy, and I still teeter on the side of he wouldn't be my first pick, but he showed he was the man last night.
You saw the kind of talent that gets you excited about Matthew Stafford if you're Sean McVay or you're somebody in the Rams front office where it's like, no, let's go get that guy.
Yep.
Because if he can do that for us, we can win a Super Bowl with that guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference. Like Goff can play.
Yeah.
Goff can play for my team too.
Yeah.
I like his attitude. I like the way he goes about his business. Stafford's a different animal when it comes to what he can do with his arm when he's right. And last night he was right. When he's on, very few quarterbacks can stay with him in terms of throwing the football.
Yeah, that's what I saw too. He distributed it well when he threw it, and just the offense in general. I mean, looking at Sony Michel and Cam Akers too, they both were great compliments to that game.
Akers, man, I don't know how you come back from what he came back from and are that fast. Like, he looked great last night.
They showed him doing box jumps on one leg 2 months after his Achilles surgery. I'm sorry, but I'm probably still on crutches if I tear my Achilles after 2 months. Now, again, I don't know the degree of it, but it don't matter. An Achilles tear is an Achilles tear. That team, if they play like how they played last night, they can be dangerous. Is Tampa coming to L.A.? Because if they are, I honestly do think that crowd might have something to say about it. Because I know LA is a front runner scene. They show all of the stars. Nomar Garcia-Parra, Dwayne Wade. They show numerous NBA players, just movie stars. Will Ferrell was there with his Buttered Soul shirt on. That was a pretty cool hoodie he had on, too. It said Buttered Soul. For whatever reason, I feel like that's Will Ferrell. But that crowd actually looked like they knew what football was. I don't care if they were friggin' Chargers fans or Raiders fans. They all had on LA gear last night, and they were cheering for the Rams. I was actually shocked by that, Jay. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, because it was definitely a visiting crowd when the 49ers were there last week.
Yeah.
San Francisco flew in like 80% of that crowd, it felt like.
Yeah.
But the Rams advance. So you got all chalk in the NFC, except for the Niners, who I don't really think that's not chalk, because I'm not sure they're not better than Dallas anyway.
Yeah. Well, I don't feel like we leaned in good enough.
We
on
didn't.
The Cowboys.
We didn't. But yesterday was a holiday. We're at home. We're being charitable. Today,
It was Martin's
not really
Day.
athlete.
Not really. We were being nonviolent yesterday. Remember, we brought that up. It was Martin's Day. We were being nonviolent, man.
Yeah,
Piss down my leg.
Yeah, that's today. That's today.
Yes, it is. And I had a call this morning, too. Some national coverage on the Titans. This is going to be a big show this weekend.
Yeah, I assume she'll be on before the end of the week.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Okay.
This is going to be a big show this weekend.
Today on the show, top 7, bottom 3. We could just change it around and rank the playoff teams that are left.
Yeah, let's do that. Do we have 10 teams to do?
We don't have to. We just do an 8.
Just do
We're just
an
doing
8.
8 today.
Whew.
There are 8 teams left, right?
Yeah.
4 on each side.
You've always
It's
said
gonna be
math.
one of them days, dog.
math
Math
what do you
is not
think?
the strength. Not the strength. Rocky Boyman of ESPN will join us next hour. Ron Slay will pop in and just ask him what the hell is going on with the basketball team.
Yeah.
He may not want to talk very much about it.
No.
We'll talk about other things.
Oh, he want to talk about it. He did say he was like he's heated about that.
Yeah, well.
Tots in Paris.
So, Rocky Boyman, Ron Slay, and you, 615-737-1045, 737-1045. We'll come back. We'll continue to break all of this down. And again, we just need J.J. Watt to quiet down. We'll be right back. J.J. Watt is not on this show. It's JMart and Ramon, 1045 The Zone.
That is a demerit. Part of sports is that you get to enjoy the highs, but then you also have to live with the lows. And you hope to have less lows than highs, obviously, but if you're going to ride high and if you're going to enjoy the good times and if you're going to be confident and excited during the good times, you also got to understand that, when it goes bad, you take that too. I mean, I'm not going to stand up here and not take my lumps. I mean, we didn't do what we were supposed to do. We started the season great and we finished the season terrible.
You barely finished the season at all. Boy, he is awfully gaseous.
He is.
That J.J. Watt, in more ways than one.
He's gassy.
Here you go. You want me to make the point that I've made for a bit here? My guy Aaron Torres sent me this fleet of statistics, and he said, I think this proves the point you've made for 6 weeks now.
What's that?
Cliff Kingsbury's into the season as a head coach. Texas Tech, 2013, lost 5 of his last 6. 14, lost 4 of his last 6. 15, lost 4 of his last 6. 16, lost 6 of his last 8. 17, lost 6 of his last 8. 18, lost 5 of his last 5, meaning he lost his last 5 games. With the Cardinals in 19, lost 7 of his last 9. 20, lost 5 of his last 7. This year, lost 5 of his last 6.
Golly.
Can I just – that's fireable.
That is.
Like, that's a trend. That literally is every year since 2013, he's lost – the best he's done is losing 4 of 6.
Is he Mike Leach?
Well, I mean, he's another air raid guy.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he finessed his way to the NFL with the air raid, and Mike Leach is doing the same thing in the college ranks, and both of them coached at Texas Tech also. Yeah. It's I'm seeing the trend here that's not on the good side.
I would say this year he wouldn't have done it if Hopkins hadn't gotten hurt. Because Hopkins was that team, and you see it now.
I love to make that excuse for him, Jay. You're so spot on, man. Nuck is down, and God, he's MVP. Great, really great point. The Titans lost Derrick Henry.
Oh no, I get it.
I wasn't saying he was wrong. I was just leaning into the fact that some people just don't.
I'm just saying that it looks to me like Hopkins covered up a multitude of problems with the Cardinals before he got hurt.
Now, I know it was a joke when he said it, but the idea when Kyler said, hey, screw it, Nuck's down there somewhere, is that how he's throwing the ball? Like, let's be real about what he's got going on. Now, I say that, but his completion percentage was second in the NFL. So he's throwing precisely. It's a matter of how he's actually throwing it, rolling out or doing whatever he's supposed to. Clearly, Kingsbury didn't do enough to actually help him along. That's what's so bad about it is, look, if you lost Nuck, that's one thing. I get it. We've lost superstar players, too, at that position. You got to find a way around it. Nobody's going to feel sorry for him, especially this group here, the way they just boat raced them when they came to Nashville.
Yeah.
And I like the idea, though, that they had all the momentum and then they lost it because it shows that sometimes these people are given these positions as far as Kingsbury that it looks good, and it's got to be the perfect scenario. He should have been able to coach his way out of that. When you have that type of momentum, 11 wins on the 11 wins early on, and then they dropped 4 of the last 5 of the last 6? That's not okay, Jay. First round exit.
I think there's one other problem with Kingsbury, and I think this is what proves it. What usually happens around the 3/4 pole of the season, the last 5-6 weeks of the season? The secrets are out, man.
Yeah, that's true.
All the tape is out.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's got a lot of film on what you've done all year. I just think whatever Kingsbury starts the season with, he ends the season with. Yeah. There are no adjustments. There is a plan A, but there is no plan B.
Yeah.
So as a result, you're a lot closer to an F by the time you get to the end of the year than you are an A.
Yeah.
You have to be able to adjust because everybody else is going to adjust to you. And if they have all this tape on 10, 11 weeks, and then you take Hopkins out and say, well, can Christian Kirk do the same thing? The answer is no.
No. And what's wild, though, is the Rams came in bullying them, too. They legitimately did. Like,
I think they knew. I think they had a feeling if they just punched them in the mouth, they would go ahead and demoralize the Cardinals right out there.
Like, seriously, though, who looked worse, Carson Wentz or Kyler Murray?
Well, at least Kyler got to the playoffs.
I know, but the way he played last night, and you have Booger McFarland saying, what in the Carson Wentz? Like, that is a thing now. What in the Carson Wentz? And then again, it was David Long Jr. that friggin' got the pick six on him, too. The shortest pick six in the playoff history, by the way. Thought that was a pretty cool little stat they threw out last night. I didn't watch the Manning cast again, by the way.
I watched Larry Fitzgerald, and then I watched a little bit of The Rock.
Yeah.
My problem with the Manning cast is I have a hard time just paying attention to the game.
Yep. I want to hear the conversation.
Like, I start listening to what else is going on, and even if they're talking about the football game, I just don't feel like I've watched the football game if I watch the Manning cast.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm not blown away with the Monday Night Crew outside of Louis Riddick.
Mm-hmm.
At least when I watch that, I feel like I'm actually paying attention to the game itself. And it's not even about listening. I don't necessarily want to hear the other conversation on the Manning cast.
Yeah.
I want them to talk more about the game. But even when they're talking about the game and it's just the two of them, it's still kind of hard to just kind of feel like you're watching the flow of a football game.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to tune it back out last night, even though I had no problem with the guests and I was curious to see what they were going to say, just because I didn't feel like I was picking anything up.
Yeah. Well, we picked up something last night. I don't think so you watched a little bit of it.
I watched the first half. I went to bed right before the Moon Knight trailer, which I got to watch during a commercial break today.
Did you watch The Rock?
Yeah.
Did you see what was behind him? The T-Rex. By the way, The Rock got found out last night, too. All it takes is for Twitter to figure out something. So that T-Rex that he had in his house behind him is the most complete T-Rex in the world. And scientists, researchers they were ticked off by this because some private buyer bought it for $31.8 million. So guess who the dinosaurs behind last night? Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
He's the private buyer that bought this complete T-Rex for $31.8 million.
Okay.
The Rock bought a T-Rex skull for $32 million, Jay.
Well, man, that's first world money right there.
That's friggin' insane.
Yeah.
And he's got it on display in his house on the Manning cast.
See, that's not FU money. That's T-Rex money.
That's T-Rex.
It doesn't matter money.
This is crazy. So you saw it behind him, the most complete T-Rex in history. And he has the head of it in his house.
They're sure that's the one.
That's Stan. And it has a name. It's Stan.
Its name is Stan?
Yes. I'll have to send y'all the article. Stan the T-Rex. This was October 12, 2020. Stan the T-Rex just sold for $31.8 million, and scientists are furious.
Why are they furious? Because they needed it for something?
For research and better understanding of it. It was actually discovered, it said 30 years ago in South Dakota. Yes, it's a 39-foot-long Tyrannosaurus Rex, nicknamed Stan.
Look, The Rock made more money as a movie star. He was like the highest paid actor in Hollywood for like 3 years in a row.
He still is, isn't he?
He's certainly up there. And he does that even when the movies aren't good.
Yeah.
So if he wants to go buy a T-Rex, I guess it's his world.
Now, an auctioneer's hammer has thrown Stan's future into question with the dinosaur bones sold off to the highest bidder. And so far, anonymous bidder stoking fear among experts that this beloved T-Rex may be lost to science. The Rock has it. Is that not, to me, I think that's the coolest freaking thing ever, Jack.
So apparently he talked about it on the Manning cast.
Yeah.
So I didn't see that part. But people are now asking, did he actually have a $30 million? Is it the real historic fossil or not? Is what I'm seeing from a couple of different Stan was sold for 32. First off, Stan's just Stan? Stan was Dorothy's ex-husband on the Golden Girls.
Come on. Okay.
Oh.
That's what the scientists are feeling like. And I'm not joking, no scientists.
Oh, no, he said, I got a T-Rex skull. That's Stan.
He said it.
As a matter of fact, so Stan was the most complete T-Rex skull ever found by a paleontologist, a young paleontologist. His name was Stan. So this T-Rex head was named after him. Pretty cool and badass, isn't it? Christie's auction house, $31.8 million. Paleontologist told the magazine at the time, that's an astronomical price that borders on absurdity. Based on my knowledge of the market, if this kind of money were invested properly, it could easily fund 15 permanent dinosaur research positions or about 80 full field expeditions per year in perpetuity. Or it could be holla at your boy in the background of the Manning cast during Wild Card weekend.
With the smallest gold chains on. I'm like, he doesn't have the biggest gold chains,
No.
but he got the biggest freaking dinosaur head.
Biggest
ever.
chain on TV last night was Eli's Death Row from Snoop.
That man had a death row chain last night. Shout out to Suge Knight, I guess. Is that not the biggest flex you ever heard of flexing?
So here's somebody that says, I don't know who this person is. I'm seeing it in the article. It says, no, The Rock did not buy the real Stan. The skull behind him is a replica. Replicas of Stan are the most widely sold of any T-Rex.
Okay.
You, too, can be the proud owner of a replica Stan skull for $11,500.
Okay. Adam.
The object in question appeared to only be the skull and not the rest of the fossil, which indicates it was just a replica sitting behind him.
Okay.
That's per Fox News.
I feel you.
They're still trying to figure out.
If I can be serious for a minute.
That's Stan.
Shafe.
You know it's Stan.
And you want to know why?
You
But
just
he's
want to
getting
believe it's
stupid
Stan
rich.
because The Rock has the money for it to be Stan.
Sure, it's Stan.
And who also did Jurassic Park? The Rock.
No.
The Rock
Did he
didn't
not?
do Jurassic
He didn't
Park.
do Jurassic?
No.
But it's not even
What was
8.
he in?
It's not even 8:45.
Oh my God, he
huh?
didn't do Jurassic
Chris
Park.
Pratt.
Chris Pratt.
He did
He
like
didn't do a
Jungle
dinosaur
Express and he did Jumanji.
Jumanji. Okay.
Yeah, he didn't.
Those
That's not the
dinosaurs in there.
same thing.
That's not, no.
I'm at or around the right answer.
That's just horrible. You actually just decided to bring a bad answer
Look.
into it. I didn't even ask you the question.
Look, the man got Stan, okay? I'm fanboying out on the fact that he has a dinosaur skull behind his head. That's Stan. Do y'all believe in the zone chat that's Stan?
Someone said on the chat that they're putting Stan in the cart right now.
It does. I agree with the big lead finish to this article. This does not necessarily mean The Rock dropped a cool $30 million on a T-Rex fossil, but it definitely might. In which case, it's one of the biggest rich guy on TV flexes of all time. It would be.
It would be.
If it was real.
I think it's the real one.
I mean, I have no reason to think either way.
That's the thing.
Like, there's no reason to say I think it's the real one. I don't have anything to base that
That's
on.
where The
other
Rock
than he has
wins.
the money to do it.
Because you don't know if it is, and you don't know if it
You
ain't.
don't know if it ain't.
You don't know.
It's a good talking point because the game certainly wasn't.
No, it wasn't. But we're talking about a flex right here, though. One way or the other, whether you pay $11,000 for a replica or whether it's the real one.
You're just envious, aren't you?
No, I love it.
You're envious.
I love it.
You're gonna have
No.
a Stan in your house by the end of the year.
Friggin' love it. Cause I'm like, that's one of my childhood heroes, The Rock. Well, and I'm thinking to myself, here he is on the Manning cast, and we've seen people wear diamond chains. This rich guy's been on, that rich guy. No. Who's got a T-Rex head? The Rock.
You know, Stan's not good going over the middle. At T-Rex arms.
He got to did it. Hey. What's good?
I'm sorry, I got stopped because I was looking at music releases next month and I saw Goo Goo Dolls Greatest Hits Volume 1. I was like, hey, they had a run and there were.
I think that's
I feel
the
like
only
it was
volume.
one album.
Yeah.
Was probably it.
Are we gonna do Goo Goo Dolls today? Is that what we're doing?
No, I just happened to see it. It shook me. A super wild card weekend comes to a close with a dud. Well, I mean, not for the Rams.
Getting an alerted deer in my yard. Put one of them skulls.
I
over
found a
there,
small
so-
pumpkin in our backyard.
Yeah.
Guy was out for the roof. He goes, deer eat those.
Yeah, they do.
And I was like, did the deer bring it into the yard and leave it behind? No, Abby threw it out there for the deer.
Oh, she said, oh,
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You won't be able to get rid of them. Just like that T-Rex head.
I don't have $31 million. If that deer's worth $31 million,
He's finna
go
go.
buy a gun today.
I figured you have 10 of them already. So it doesn't matter if it's real or not that The Rock had it. You don't care if it was or if it wasn't him.
Not really. I mean,
Okay.
more so than anything else, it's smart by The Rock because nobody's gonna be able to prove it's not his unless the person that actually bought it comes out and says, actually, this is Stan. And that person's not going to do that because they don't want to get their house broken into for a giant T-Rex.
That's all I'm thinking. Like The Rock, like if that's really 32 M's, like the home invasions are like big in like LA. Like you got to have top of the line security. You've just been put on notice, The Rock. I hate to say it. I'm sure he's fine, but
Yeah, he's all right.
that's I hope that's the one. God, I hope that's the one stand right there. The people's dinosaur. Adam said that actually in the zone chat.
Do the right thing. Totally relinquish your ownership of the fossil and donate it to an accredited natural history museum so that science can ethically be done on stand for the benefit of everyone on the planet who has an interest in dinosaurs, paleontologist Thomas Carr urged of the anonymous buyer.
That's why I love it.
That's the sequel to the Spike Lee movie. Do the right thing, totally relinquish your ownership of the fossil and donate it to an accredited natural history museum so that science can ethically be done on stand for the benefit of everyone on the planet who has an interest in dinosaurs. A Spike Lee joint.
Y'all petty as hell.
That's why I like that The Rock has it, or the perception that he has it. It's because of that, what you just read, Jay.
Scientists are chapped over this.
They are chapped.
And have been since this thing was bought. Like, it's not like last night they became chapped.
Frostbite just said in the chat, now I want to stand.
Now I want one too.
Well, you got to have a stand. Why can't I have a stand, man? That's played out, man.
That's played out. Like, legitimately a dinosaur head.
So he was found by a paleontologist named Stan, who was like, I'm going to name him Stan.
Okay, now let's get back to
Thank God his name wasn't Slim Shady.
No. Let's get to the root of it too. We had T-Rexes like walking in South Dakota. Is that not like
Montana, North Dakota, southern part
week?
of Canada. Yeah.
This week?
No.
I mean,
talking about Mike Mayock?
Maybe.
Who's also extinct?
And now.
But he was a draft specialist though.
Yeah, he's going to go back to being one if anybody wants to see his talent. How do you go back to that job now? Because who cares about your talent evaluation considering the way you drafted?
You couldn't get a great team
Although they
together.
did get, they did draft pretty well this past season.
They had 2 first-rounders that got arrested.
It's true.
Okay, didn't mean to bring that down. But he can go walking with sand, though, now, Mike Mayock, right? My draft grade was wrong because Mike Mayock said it was right. That's what's the issue.
I'm just kind of trying to determine whether or not The Rock was flexing or not. Or if he's just trying to mess with people.
But if he's messing with people, that in of itself is a flex.
That's definitely a flex.
It's just he's somebody that you could actually believe could actually own that. Like if I did that in the background, nobody would buy it.
Me too.
Moan did it.
Nobody would believe
it's
it.
possible.
Like a group of us go in and buy it. Like a group of us go in and get it.
Yeah. The Rock's like, that's just my Jumanji money.
The new goal for JMart and Ramon is before we close the doors on this thing in about 4 decades, in the background we have Stan.
Right next to Coach Mack.
Right beside Do-Rag, Coach Mack, and the monkey.
Yeah, those guys are all still here.
Oh, they're not going anywhere. With his Apple Watch on.
Is there a watch on the cardboard cutout of Coach Mack?
There is a watch. Pretty sure it's not an Apple.
It's not. Well, it's probably a droid because Ron Slay.
Call that watch Stan. Because we don't know what it is.
I mean, think about the movies. He could have paid for Stan in a year. What is he averaging? Like 2 movies a year? 3?
No, I mean maybe 2 sometimes, but generally not 2.
But like $20 million a pop.
I know he can afford it.
Jay,
But he did buy into the XFL, so he's about to lose his rear end.
Hey, look at me. Don't take this from me. The Rock, that's Stan. Okay.
That Stan, you need to save that photo because when the XFL goes down, I'm going to say, yep, shouldn't have bought that.
Stan's
Needed that
getting
other
sold.
$31 million.
I like imagine all the things people have done on the Manning cast. He had some handlers. Hey, roll Stan in here real quick. Because the cabinet he's sitting behind is not a very flashy room he's in.
Nothing was flashy at all about the shot, except for the giant skull in the background.
I love it. Rock, that's why I root for you, okay?
615-737-1045. And what's funny is like just generally him talking wasn't all that interesting.
No. The Stan is.
737-1045. Was it the real Stan? Was it a fake, Stan? When we come back, we will, again, continue to break down the football weekend because that's what we're going to do all week.
Yeah.
Scout Meeting Wednesday tomorrow is one not to miss.
That's a
So
good
we're going to be going deep into the Cincinnati Bengals situation and how we're feeling about it. They had a couple of bad pieces of news for the future this season for them in terms of guys that won't be available for them. We will tell you who they are when we come back. It's JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. We're getting near February. We're getting closer to April. Tax season can be a real headache, but if you navigate it right, you can turn the tables in your favor. I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but what about using it as leverage to make your home ownership or investment goals a reality? You can use your tax refund towards a down payment and turn the obligation that you can't get out of into something that's actually working for you and your dreams. If your home is starting to feel small, you and your family need a larger space to grow. It's more within your reach than you think. Maybe it's a bigger home on a mortgage that works for you. Maybe it's refinancing in order to add a guest room. Either way, it's possible. And with that refund right around the corner, you need the right guys on your side to make sure you're taken care of. As the Southeast leading mortgage lender, my friends at Mortgage Investors Group here to help you get not just any loan, but the right home loan. The MIG team of mortgage experts is ready for you. They care. They're committed to helping you close on time, structure things right, realize those dreams, because their goal is to help you achieve yours. Whether that's a new home, whether that's a better rate, a big addition to your current home, whatever it is, they're ready to make it a reality. I want you to let MIG go to work for you today. Go to migonline.com, migonline.com. Find the office nearest to you or text MIG to 31399, MIG, those three letters, to 31399 to get pre-qualified. Do it today. Mortgage Investors Group, the right home loan. Equal housing lender, license number 109111.
We're on to the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is celebrating with huge odds boosts for new customers. Counting down to Super Bowl 56, you can get 56 to 1 odds on any team. You can bet $5 and get $280 in free bets if your team wins. Not a new customer? No problem. You can still get in on the action of the divisional round with the same game parlays. You can combine multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. The more legs you add, the more money you can win. Thing about DraftKings is this: it's safe, secure, and reliable. And you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want it. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code WGFX and get 56 to 1 odds on any NFL team. Betting just $5 and win $280 in free bets if your team wins. That's promo code WGFX for 56 to 1 odds at the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. And you must be 21 years or older and present in Tennessee to bet. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. And if you're someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
You're going to do this all day, aren't you? Just a little flippant comment about the Goo Goo Dolls. I'm about to hear Long Way Down.
Yeah, just like Stan.
Naked. Name.
Maybe not.
By the way, James Lewis sent us an article that said, look, there was saber-tooth tigers walking around Nashville.
That's
He
right.
sent me the article.
Kevin Nash has walked the streets of Nashville.
No.
No. They actually had something to do with the Predators, man.
Yeah, welcome to town, Mo.
Yeah, that's why they were named the Predators.
That's why they named the Predators, bro.
I've been out of his place for a while.
I know.
I'm catching up.
Gotta catch up.
I'm catching up,
Catch
man.
up.
This is freaking awesome. Look at this human being holding a saber-tooth head. Oh, that's awesome.
Mom, we're trying to do a radio show. Here.
All right.
Audio medium.
Second Monday. I'm here now.
Eric in Nashville. Eric, save us.
Morning, Eric.
Hey, guys. First of all, I just want to say I'm really, really excited. Now I'm gonna look forward to Saturday. I will be at the game Saturday.
Hey, there you go. So will we.
I'm actually a season ticket holder. Have been having some health issues. I haven't been able to go to too many games, but definitely really excited. So found out yesterday was confirmed and everything. So I'm looking forward to Saturday and hopefully for Nashville's too. If we can win Saturday, first AFC Championship game a week from Sunday. Guys, I know you probably. If you haven't heard this yet, you'll probably already hear some of this, and because it's already started a little bit yesterday. I was happy to be flipping through, was watching Speak for Yourself with Marcellus Wiley and Emmanuel Acho, and Emmanuel Acho said they was talking about the Buffalo Kansas City matchup, and he was saying, "Oh, I'm so disappointed. This should have been the AFC Championship game. It should be the divisional playoffs." And I'm saying, look, if you wanted to be an AFC Championship game, one of those teams or both of those teams should have won enough games where that could have happened, but they didn't do it, so that's on them. And, of course, Marcel's wife says, well, I wish this was the Super Bowl, all that type of stuff. You're going to hear that talking about people are going to say, you haven't heard yet, but you will hear it said that whoever wins this game is probably going to be the favorites in the AFC to get to and win the Super Bowl on the AFC side. So I'm saying it's all good, so it doesn't bother me, but I'm just real excited, and I don't want to overlook Cincinnati or anything like that, guys. I like our chance, especially with the week off and the bye and everything like that. I think that crowd's going to be so electric, so emotional and everything. I'm just hoping that a lot of the Titans fans, especially with what ticks are going for, they don't sell them to Cincinnati fans because I'm hoping that stadium's going to be loud and proud Saturday. I'm looking forward to it. Real excited. Guys, y'all take care.
You
All
too,
right, Eric.
man.
Come on. We're trying to do a radio show here.
Eric's going to be the good luck.
We're trying to be better. And I hear you just burping in the background. Me and Shafe just look at each other. I'm just like, was that? You're like, second Monday. Yeah, you're like, second Monday. We're good now. Nope. Literally 10 seconds later. Yeah.
My bad.
So, yeah, they're still talking about this Bills Chiefs game. Ooh. Like I was telling you during the break. We're going to have Robert Mays, The Athletic, on. He and Nate have done these podcasts every day for The Athletic, and they're great podcasts, always. But yesterday, Mays has got a wedding on Saturday he's going to. He's going to a wedding. Then he's flying out so he can get to Arrowhead because he can't miss Chiefs-Bills Sunday, he said.
Yeah.
And then Nate Tice is like, oh, I'm so jealous. Josh Allen, oh, baby. That's a quote.
Oh, my gosh.
So here's the thing. I get it. That's the marquee matchup. Totally understand it.
Yeah.
You know what the Titans do a lot?
What's that?
Beat the brakes off of marquee teams.
We've
seen it. We've seen it all season long. Bills, Chiefs, both of them already went down. Rams, they're in the playoffs. They got beat. 49ers, they're still in the playoffs. They got beat.
I'm telling you, I think the Cincinnati group is a little nervous about this matchup, man. I honestly don't. Let me stop getting ahead of myself here. Let's be
Friday.
cool.
That's Friday.
Let's be cool. This is going to be a good one. Time out after this segment right here.
That's Stan.
I'm excited for this city, for this game, for this matchup. Cincinnati's not a far drive. They're gonna have fans here. The back and forth between Cincy and Tennessee should be a really good matchup. You got Joe Mixon. You got the idea that Derrick Henry is probably gonna get a lot of reps this week. I honestly don't think there's a governor. And I'll say this: I was wrong. I said I'd shelf him. No, I understand now that the bone is a bone, and when it's healed, it's healed. And Derrick Henry looks 100%, and he looks fresh. He looks 100%, and he looks fresh.
I don't know if he looks 100%. I haven't seen him yet.
I'm saying in the drills we've seen, he's running like you don't see a hitch. You don't see him favoring. You know what I'm saying? Like, you notice if there was something. And then I'm sure somebody will have a leak somewhere to where it's like, you had a little bit of a setback. We've got none of that, and even more. So, I mean, Deontay Foreman still can get the job done, but if 22 gets the job done, I think they'll get the opportunity to embarrass Cincinnati through the run game if they can, because they are down 2.
Man, you are
if
getting
not
ahead of
3.
yourself using the
I
word
am.
embarrassed. I don't think Cincinnati's getting embarrassed. I just don't.
I put $5 on that table up there.
What do you mean by embarrassed?
I think they're gonna just boat race Cincinnati this weekend.
Okay.
I think your hate for Cincinnati
Yeah, I
may be
think it
clouding
is,
your
too.
judgment.
Maybe that is what it is too, but I don't.
I've
see
got the Titans winning the Super Bowl, as you know, and I think they're going to win the game on Saturday. I do not think it's going to be like what we saw last night.
I'll say
All
this.
you see is Vontez Perfect in your head. That's all you're seeing.
You know
right
what?
now.
And that's okay too.
These guys play with swag. I don't think they're afraid of Tennessee.
No, and that's cool too. But what I'm saying is this: of the 4 games this weekend, I think this game will be the least interesting, but the most exciting for Titans fan.
Of course, it'll be the most exciting because if they win, that's the most exciting.
And I say it'll be not interesting because it'll be a little bit of a boat race. That's where I'm leaning on to on this one before we even get to scout meeting.
Okay.
And we'll see.
You're on record.
I'm on record. Yep.
Cousin Danny of the Joe Burrow on line 1. Danny?
Ain't no one even trying to hear that mess, Ramon. You're the same guy that said that the Bengals were going to finish 4th place in the AFC North, and they swept your sorry Steelers this season, beat them by a combined 60-some points, and won the dang division. And all you Titans fans out here talking about Mike Vrabel's undefeated on long rest, fool like you forgot week 1 when they got embarrassed on the longest rest possible by a team that just got boat raced by the Rams last night. Y'all talking too much noise.
Okay, Danny, you started this, but you're the guy that cheers for 2 teams on this one, so you really can't lose on this one. But when Cincinnati comes to town, you're all Cincy. But when the Titans do good, you're on to them too. No, don't do this one, Danny. Pick one. Is where I'm at with you right now because you're all about the AFC North, but you're also about bashing the Colts.
Hey, indoor voices and one at a time, please.
Meet me outside,
Let me
Danny.
tell you about this real quick, talking about 2 teams, because I hear you cheering for the Titans, talking about boat racing the
I'm not. I got to cover the Titans. And, of course, if I think they're going to beat Cincinnati, they're going to. Danny.
I lived in this town for 12 years, and if I want to cheer for the Titans when they're not playing my Bengals, damn with anybody who's got a problem with it.
Danny, me and you need to have a strong conversation outside the studio.
I'll meet you at 10:01. I'll be the guy in Tim's.
Let's go.
We get off at 9:54. We can be there sooner than that.
Don't meet
I
me there.
got a camera phone with this written all over it, man.
Don't meet me there. Beat me there, Danny.
Oh, my goodness.
All right,
y'all.
Danny.
I really do. When you talking about boat races, you need to knock the
No,
nonsense off.
I don't. Y'all are down. Y'all are down. So
Appreciate it, Dan.
you're down 3 defensive linemen
All right, we're coming back
against
after
a
the
team
top of the
that-
hour headlines, and we'll get into it more, okay?
Okay.
We're over because of whatever that was over the last 2 minutes. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Hey, you deserve all the comforts of home. That includes endless hot water at your fingertips. And you've probably, if you don't have it, you know what it's like not to have it. Over the last few days, as it's been super cold, having to wait for the water to heat up, not having a ton of it. Tankless water heaters powered by new recirculation systems. That's your answer. They help you save energy, save money, save time, save space. And Lee Company has them for you. And they've got a deal on them for you. And that deal works right now. How good is that? Lee Company has a limited time offer, $500 off or special financing on a tankless water heater. A little bit of a cost up front, but think about the comfort and the convenience that it can add to your home right now. Limited time offer, $500 off, special financing, tankless water heater. Don't miss out on this great deal. A lot of people taking advantage of it because, of course, they are. It's frigid outside. Call Lee Company today. 615-567-1000. That's Lee Company. 615-567-1000 or online at leecompany.com.
7:02, good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. The LA Rams cruised to a 34-11 victory over the Arizona Cardinals last night in the final game of the NFL wildcard round. Matthew Stafford went 13 of 17 for 202 yards and 2 touchdowns, also ran for a score. It was the first playoff win in his career. Meanwhile, the Rams defense forced 2 Kyler Murray interceptions, including a pick 6 by David Long Jr. No, not that one. The Cardinals had only 183 total yards. Cardinal safety Budda Baker was taken off the field on a stretcher after a violent collision late in the third quarter. He suffered a concussion but was alert and had feeling in his extremities when evaluated at a nearby hospital. Other NFL news, Mike Mayock out as general manager of the Las Vegas Raiders after 3 seasons. St. Louis defeated Nashville 5-3 in the NHL last night. The Prince have dropped 3 in a row after winning 5 straight. John Morant and Desmond Bain scored 25 points each as the Grizz defeated the Bulls 119-106. The Grizz have won 12 of 13. College basketball tonight, number 24 Tennessee at Vanderbilt, 8 o'clock tip, 7:30 pregame. Courtesy of the Vol Network right here on The Zone. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Hour number 2, JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone on this second Monday. Ramon's acting like it's first Monday. 11-year NFL veteran Vol for life, Ramon Foster cackling in the background. Jonathan Schaefer is too stoic for words. I'm Jason Martin at Ramon Foster, at Schaefer on Sports, at JMart Radio, at JMart and Ramon. So I was saying this during the break, and then we get to Ryan and Jacob's calls. It is a premier job.
Mm-hmm.
NBC Sunday Night Football in America. He's throwing it to Drew Brees. He's doing all this stuff. And I know he's part of the jokey element, the non-serious sports guy. There is no one more underqualified or worse at their job than the young Collinsworth, who is stunningly bad on television. How did they allow that level of nepotism to happen? That's Colin Dunlap, 93.7, the fan in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Moan. I actually want to talk about it just for a second because I've watched Jack throughout the year, and Jack's just – if Ryan Seacrest sucked, he would be Jack Collinsworth. He's just kind of standing on the field next to a Drew Brees or a Rodney Harrison. He's like, Rodney, what are you seeing here, buddy? And he's just like shaking his head immediately before Rodney says anything. But Dunlap goes on to say something I have thought about for years, and that is that virtually everybody on Sunday Night Football is miscast.
Yeah.
Or shouldn't be there. One way or the other. Like, Tony Dungy is not a good analyst. Tony Dungy is a sit down in front of me, let's talk about life.
Yeah.
Because he's Tony Dungy. He doesn't ever really want to say too much bad about anybody.
No, he can't.
I don't think most people want to hear from Rodney Harrison.
Yeah.
Generally speaking.
He has quick segments, man. He's never like a breakdown guy, like you said, to that point.
Yeah. Like the whole thing is real polished in the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
I've always kind of thought Michelle Tafoya was pretty talented. She's leaving. Al Michaels apparently is probably heading to
Tafoya's
Amazon
leaving?
for yeah, she's done.
Oh, did not know
She's
that.
done at the end of the year. Al Michaels might be headed to Amazon for Thursday Night Football. So they're going to have a chance to do a bunch of new stuff. But Jack Collinsworth, considering Chris's job and how they throw Pro Football Focus in your face constantly because it's his company and all this stuff, the whole thing just reeks of people that got their jobs the wrong way.
Yeah.
And I don't mean everybody. I mean, Tarico's super talented. And we know Maria knows what she's doing. And there's a lot of people that are experts and talented broadcasters. But that's the biggest, highest rated show every week generally is Sunday Night Football.
Not even close,
Sometimes
right?
the Fox afternoon game if it's a Dallas Green Bay or something like that. But almost always is Sunday Night Football. Yet I'm not impressed with the crop of talent that they have. But, man, that is not mincing words, calling it nepotism, which is what it is because he would not be there if not for Chris Collinsworth being the color analyst.
Absolutely. When I heard his name, I was like, is that his kid?
As soon as you see him talk and look at him, you know it's his kid.
Yeah. I'm thinking to myself, yeah, that's
Now, a lot of people kill Collinsworth. I actually like Chris Collinsworth.
Okay, so what about the Sims?
Well, I mean, yeah, and I'm not a giant fan of his either. We know this.
Mm-hmm.
His lists are enough to knock him down on the list. He didn't have Devontae Adams as a top 10 wide receiver in football this past year.
Yeah.
Like, it's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of guys. But, I mean, Phil works for CBS, and Chris works for NBC, and Florio, Pro Football Talk, and those guys. Florio's another one I have no interest in ever seeing on TV. And his stuff is real brief now, too.
Yeah.
But it all seems like an advertisement for other stuff. Here's an advertisement for Pro Football Talk.
Yep.
Here's an advertisement for Pro Football Focus. Here's my son on the sidelines. Go.
Yep. And what's wild is you know he has investment in it. Like it's not a secret as far as Collinsworth go. Like he's invested in PFF and they pushed it in front of everybody.
He created it.
I know, that's what I'm saying. But I hate it because you get these ranking of guys, and maybe the rankings are true of whatever they are. But you have somebody that's 114th out of 136. Like, come on, man. Like, clearly he's still a starter. He can't be that bad.
Yeah, when I see those numbers, I'm just like, based on what?
On what? That's why we've always gone at them. Based on what?
And, I mean, I think we have their best on. We have Palazzolo, who I think is very good. And when Sam's on, even though we disagree with Sam a lot, I like Sam. I like those two guys. A lot of it, though, just feels like talking for the sake of talking.
Yeah.
And a lot of numbers that are just out there for the sake of being out there.
You know what? They've grown that business.
And that's all it is.
Into a lot.
Oh, yeah, money. They have. Let's go to Ryan in Lebanon. Ryan, what's going on?
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Hey, I just want to say something to that Bengals fan that called in just a minute ago, man. Don't be calling in national radio stations and all this, that, and the other. Cheer for your team.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be calling in. A fun fact for you Bengals fans. The 2021 Tennessee Titans became the first team in the NFL history to record at least 8 wins against teams that finished the season with a winning record. Not only did they do that, they also broke an NFL record using 91 different players to do so. Put some respect on our name, bro. This is Nashville. Tighten up.
All right, Ryan. Well, Danny's been calling the show since day one, so I'm glad to hear from him. He needs to be out front this week because if they get beat, hopefully he'll still be calling you next week. And not just disappear and just be cricket noises.
Yeah, I know. We
I don't think
need
he will,
that.
by the way.
Yeah, I don't think he will.
I don't think he will. Let's go to Jacob in Hendersonville. Jacob, what's up?
What's up, Jacob?
Look, guys, I don't call in a lot, but when I heard that boy Danny talking, son, especially my boy Ramon,
come on, man.
I had to pick up that phone and start talking that talk. First of all, Danny, you need to take that back to wherever you came from, brother. We'll find you, bro. We'll give you a swirly, okay? This is our time, all right? So we don't need none of that negativity. And second of all, I just want to shout out to all my Titans fans and say, tighten up, baby. Let's go. Danny, you're a loser. See you later, boys. I'm out.
There we go, Jacob.
Somebody's going to have receipts either way.
From humble Hendersonville, baby, we represent. We take care of our own up north. That was cool. I just wanted to say that like we was just gang banging and stuff.
All right, Mon, I want you to set this up because we got Rocky Boyman coming up. He does radio. I mean, he's ESPN, but he also does daily radio in Ohio, in Cincinnati. So I want you to set it up because I'm going to lead off the topic with him based on what you're saying. So thoughts on Bengals Titans. We already kind of heard the bombshell or the blockbuster point that you're leaning towards. Go ahead and make that case for the next couple minutes.
My case is this on the Cincinnati Titans matchup. One, you got a rested team, and I think this is a team that honestly understands that, look, that rest doesn't mean much if you don't get a win. Home game, evening game, Derrick Henry coming back. The thing that bothers me about the Cincinnati is this. I do think Cincinnati has a passing threat, but Cincinnati's also given up 51 sacks this year. Joe Burrow can be a magician all he wants to, but if he's running around and not completing passes and that front four is getting after him, and on top of that, they're having issues at right guard and at center also. And their right tackle gets a little bit of work at times also. Quinn Spain is back into the fold as far as their team goes. When you got a team that's got issues on the O-line against this defensive front that we've seen, they penetrate, they make plays up front. Not many teams get a whole lot of yards on them statistically throughout the year. And on the other side of the ball for Cincinnati, this is what worries me about them. Sometimes on the Super Bowl run, we talked to B-Hop yesterday. A lot of things get lucky, like it go your way. Ogunjobi being out, he's done for the year. I feel like Henderson will be back. Mike Daniels is also out this week. And they lost another young guy. I think he's a Tongan. Forget his last name for Cincinnati, but he's out this week also. On top of they don't really have a rush on the outside other than Hendrickson, and you can chip him in and get guys on him to slow him down all day. Linebacking core, solid, not great. When you got a team that runs the ball the way the Titans do, I think this could be a slow grind, beat them down, high rushing game for a win for the Titans. Will it be a boat race? We'll see what Cincinnati does offensively. But the way they get after the quarterback, the way they can cover even at the linebacker position right now, with Zach Cunningham, with David Long. I'm not just saying this just because I want Cincinnati to lose. I'm saying this because I think the Titans are legitimately ahead of the curve when it comes to defending a team like this.
Well, no, I don't disagree with that. Like I said, I'm going to pick them to win too. But I think the reason why I wanted you to kind of lay the case out a little bit and why we're going to ask Rocky about it is because you used the term boat race.
Yeah. It could turn into
By the way, what does boat race mean to you?
Beating by 10 or more.
Okay,
I'm talking about first
10.
half.
I usually look at it as like 20 or more.
First half, 21-3 or something like that.
And you win the game what?
And you win the game, let's say 35-14.
Okay, yeah, that would sound like a boat race.
Well, that's 21 points.
21.
It's not 10.
21. Yeah. What I'm saying is the way that I don't know if Cincinnati's going to be able to get it going. I like Joe Mixon. I do. I like Joe Burrow. I like all of their weapons that they have. The fact that they can't really protect them, they got to come here to this crowd. That's also a point. They got to come on the road to this crowd. And they're missing defensive linemen. What has this group in Nashville done all year long? They've run through teams. And you literally have everybody back this week. Now, if the Titans fall and get an egg on their face, it'll be to their own undoing. But they got to go get a guy off the street this week to play D-tackle because they don't have any.
Right. Well, the Rams did it with Eric Weddle, and they won last night.
But he's playing safety. And look how good they are up front.
But he hasn't played in 2 years either.
I know. He retired when I did.
Yeah.
It's freaking crazy.
We got Rocky Boyman on the other side. We'll dive even deeper into this. Obviously, Bengals Titans from every angle over the next 4 days across the show, certainly across our show. We started with Rocky Boyman next. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Hey, I've been wearing glasses, or had been at least, since about second grade. Finally reached my breaking point. Was tired of the fog, especially with the masks back in 2020. Irritated eyes, broken glasses, having to carry a tool around in case the screw fell out of the side or something like that. Finally, LASIK MD came around. It was the right time for me. I took the plunge, and I'm so glad that I did. It really, for most people, you're back in action in about 24 hours. I had to have a different procedure than standard LASIK, so it's been a little bit more of a journey for me. But, man, LASIK MD has taken such good care of me. I can't say enough about them or give them a higher recommendation than to say that I would send anybody in my family to them. Dr. Jason Greenberg, Dr. Wynn, everybody over there, they're the absolute best. They gave me what I needed, not necessarily what I wanted. If they wanted to give me the regular LASIK, I probably wouldn't have known the difference because I don't know how I'm supposed to see after the fact. But they said, no, this is safer. It's going to last longer. It's going to be a little bit more of a process, but this is what we think you need. They did it. They were right. 10-minute procedure, virtually painless. They've done over 80,000. Dr. Greenberg has. The company's done over 1 million in North America. I've had some people send me messages over the weekend, text and said, hey, I hear you talking about LASIK. I've been thinking about doing it. Don't think anymore. Go ahead and make the call. Go ahead and see if you're a candidate. Go to LASIKMD.com. Schedule a free LASIK consultation, and they'll tell you whether or not you're a good candidate for LASIK. LASIKMD.com. LASIK starting at $490 per eye. They got a low price guarantee. There's no reason to wait. If you've been thinking about this, it's time to see the world through brand new eyes. LASIKMD.com. Mike Vrabel talking about Joe Burrow, who does carry himself as a guy you'd want to go to war with.
Yeah.
Somebody's very confident in his ability and confident in his team's ability. One thing that we say about the bye, or you don't really think about, one of the advantages of bye is the wear and tear that comes in having to play the extra game. Well, you think about the Bengals losing Ogunjobi. Looks like Daniels, the backup, probably isn't going to be able to go. Maybe Tupou can play. We'll find out. We don't know. He didn't play against the Raiders either. But then Hendrickson.
Yeah.
Trey Hendrickson's in a concussion protocol. Zach Taylor says it's day to day. It'll start today to see if he can get back to activities. He's got to get cleared. A lot of people can't get cleared within a week. If they don't have him, against the Raiders, 43.5% pressure rate with Trey Hendrickson on the field.
Yeah.
Dropped to 9.1 after he went out of the game.
Ogunjobi too.
I don't know that they can survive without Hendrickson.
They have to have him.
Because off the edge, he's the guy. He's been great for them, but without him and Ogunjobi, they are hurting defensively. Let's bring in on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline our friend Rocky Boyman, former Titan, of course, ESPNer and daily radio host in Cincinnati. Rocky, good morning to you.
Morning, Rocky.
Fellas, good morning. How are we doing today?
We're doing pretty well. Look, you're the team that you cover on a day-to-day basis, still alive. The team that we cover on a day-to-day basis, still alive. In fact, they're going to clash on Saturday afternoon right here. What are you hearing in terms of the injuries? Because it does seem like that win came at a cost for Cincinnati on Saturday.
It really did. You guys just mentioned it. The loss of Ogunjobi is huge. Obviously, having a nose tackle with Derrick Henry getting ready to be pounding the ball down the field here, that's a huge one. Hendrickson, again, same thing. I've not heard anything internally about what his status was. But if you watch that game, the playoff game versus the Raiders, there was a significant drop-off in just overall pressure on the quarterback when he left the game. I mean, it wasn't not even just sacks, but in terms of making Derek Carr uncomfortable and forcing some bad throws. So, I mean, he was such a great, free agent addition at the beginning of the season. No one would have thought he would have put up the kind of numbers he did, but he is really, the heart and soul of getting pressure on the quarterback. So yeah, I mean, not really ideal. Overall, the Bengals have enjoyed, I'd say, probably the best health out of maybe any team in the NFL throughout the entirety of the season, especially in the division. You looked at the Ravens were absolutely just decimated by injuries. The Browns, of course, lots of injuries. Even the Steelers had a bunch, and the Bengals throughout the whole regular season were remarkably healthy. And now it looks like they got a little bit of the injury bug here at a time in the season, and versus a team that you definitely can't afford to have that happen.
So earlier in the program, my broadcast partner, Ramon Foster, said he used the term boat race. He just has a feeling that the Titans in this matchup are going to boat race Cincinnati. How do you assess it? We've still got days to go. Maybe Hendrickson gets cleared. Concussion protocol is kind of a wonky thing, so we don't know. But looking at the matchup, looking at how they looked on Saturday against the Raiders, where they are right now, where Tennessee is, and how you feel about that team, how are you looking at that matchup? And do you think it's fair to say, yeah, this could be a real bad day for Cincinnati?
Ask Ramon, which quarterback would he rather have right now on his team, Joe Burrow or Ryan Tannehill?
Well, we actually did that topic yesterday, and we both said Joe Burrow.
Okay, so right there, that alone in a league and especially a weekend that was defined by great quarterback play, I think right there that alone gives the Bengals certainly a reasonable chance. And I've been saying this really ever since the Raiders-Bengals game ended. Look, every team you're going to face in the playoffs is tough, right? I mean, but if I was going to have my choice, do I want to face Josh Allen and the Bills? Hell no. If you guys watch that game, I don't want any part of him at all right now. Patrick Mahomes, we know what he can do. And then we got, Ryan Tannehill leading the Titans. And he's been a great quarterback, and he really fits the system and Derrick Henry and what they want to do. But if I had my choice of those three teams to face, I wouldn't want to face any of them. But if I had to pick one of those three, it would be a Titans, just on the aspect of the lesser of the three quarterbacks that you have to face. And I think the Burrow v. Tannehill matchup certainly favors the Bengals and gives them, I think it certainly gives them a shot.
Okay, I love that. And so listen to my approach to why I think this game could be one-sided when it comes to the Titans. One, you lose Larry. You got to see if Henderson gets out of concussion protocol. I think he will. But you also lose a backup D tackle also. And on top of a team that's coming off healthy, all their offensive linemen with the run game, with a healthy Derrick Henry back in the backfield. How are they actually going to stop what the Titans do?
I'm not sure they can. I'm just saying if I had to face any of the 3 teams, I would probably pick the Titans right now. It's certainly tough. I guess if you're a Bengals fan, you're hoping that Derrick Henry with 9-10 weeks off is rusty. I think that's a fool's errand. I mean, the guy's been playing football his entire life. He's a veteran. He knows how to play the game. He's not going to all of a sudden forget how to run the outside zone, right? Maybe a little bit of sharpness here and there, but that's the tough part about it is I think I don't really anticipate much of a drop-off from him. But if you're a Bengals fan, you're saying maybe there's something, just this guy needs a game to kind of get back in the flow, and that's just that one game that the Bengals need. If some other things go right, you get obviously great quarterback play out of Joe Burrow. I think they're going to have to score a lot. The problem is it plays right into what the Titans want to do, which is keep Joe Burrow on the sideline. So, yeah, you feed Derrick Henry the ball, and that's the main part of your offense, but it's also the best defense against Joe Burrow because he's standing on the sideline. So it's certainly a tough task. But I think just with the offensive firepower, having watching this Bengals team all season, it's one of those, those cliche. It keeps the defensive coordinator up at night because you don't know who to take away, right? Defense always starts with who's their best player, who are we going to take away? Well, I think you take away JMart Chase, right? We're not going to let this rookie beat us. Okay, well then, T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd are very explosive. But, the tight end C.J. Uzomah had a fantastic wild card game. And then you go ahead and you start taking away the pass. Joe Mixon, the last, I'd say, third of the season, was really, really running the ball well, and you got the ability of Joe Burrow to create. So there's a lot of problems it's going to create for the defensive coordinator in picking his poison. Who's he going to try to take away? And so far, especially late in the season, whatever the D coordinators have chosen to take away, the offense has been able to respond and beat them, left-handed, so to say.
So the other side of this then is that aspect of it offensively. For a team that's given up 51 sacks on the season, to protect Joe Burrow is a task. And this team here in Nashville gets after the quarterback as like one of the best units in the league. On top of that, their linebackers can cover with Zach Cunningham and David Long Jr., and you got a safety on the back end with Bayer. I'm not saying that, look, this is just going to be an unfathomable task. But what I'm asking you is, how are they going to protect him and also be able to get the run game started with the way this front four of the Titans has actually been good this year and off of 1 week bye?
Yeah, protecting Joe Burrow has been the issue ever since he came to Cincinnati, and he had the ACL injury, a year and a half ago, and and all that. And this season, especially early. And I would say this, too, that the 51 sacks or whatever it was they've given up, it could have been more. Joe Burrow makes this line look better, right, with his escapability. In the same way Ben Roethlisberger made the Steelers line sometimes look a little better. That was a shot at Ramon. Anyway,
I heard you. It's all good. It's all good.
No, but you know what I'm saying? Like his escapability is incredible. And I think it's something that the team is going to have to rely on. He's going to have to, work some of his magic and escape and throw out of bad pockets and roll out and do all that sort of thing. It's definitely going to be tough. I just think, the Bengals plan has got to be get the ball first and just and go out, try to find a way to go up 14 quick. And now all of a sudden, you're starting to play into the advantage of the Bengals a little bit. In a game where the Titans have a lot of advantages across the board.
Rocky Boyman joining us here on JMart and Ramon. Rocky, so JMart Chase mid-season, they kind of hit a wall a little bit where he wasn't doing a whole lot. Now he and Burrow have outstanding chemistry. I look at that. We talked about, okay, you take him away. Well, the thing that was surprising to me on Saturday was that Joe Mixon couldn't really get going. He had 17 carries for 49 yards. That's going to have to be better if they want to keep Joe Burrow upright against a team that's top 10 in getting after the quarterback, as Moan just said. What explains Mixon just kind of not being able to get it rolling against the Raiders, especially considering that you knew going in, they don't blitz a whole lot. They try to do a lot with 4.
I mean, Joe Mixon at times has been hit or miss sometimes, and you can't really put your finger on it, you know. And again, throughout the collective last third of the season, he was running the ball well, and you know that was a big part of the game plan coming in that Raiders game, which is why him not only having I think he had 48 yards, 50 yards rushing wasn't fantastic. But it's just something that they got to do. They got to find a way to do it. They got to find a way to to push some bodies off the line. And because without that, if you're just sitting back there with no run game and Joe Burrow's sitting back there behind an offensive line, that's a little bit diminished as well. It's going to be tough. I mean, Joe Mixon again, he's just been feast or famine sometimes. Really throughout his career, he's battled a little bit of some nicks here and there too. You're coming up lame here and there, that kind of thing. But I know he had the ankle in the game, which he came back from, and I imagine he's going to be fine. But he's certainly got to have one of his best games.
And then when it comes to JMart, the first thing I was talking about there, what changed? Like, is it just as simple as those two guys just got on the same page again? The game slowed down again for JMart Chase? I don't know. Like, he started out on fire and then just kind of had a bit of a lull, and now he's firing on all cylinders again. What explains kind of his rise to fall to rise again?
His whole career path has been crazy this year because he comes in, he's a first overall pick, and there was a ton of debate, or not the first overall, but the Bengals' first pick, a ton of debate in the offseason during the draft. Should the Bengals take Penei Sewell because they got an offensive line that needs help? We got to protect the investment in Burrow, or do you take JMart Chase, who was a fantastic receiver but didn't play an entire year of college football, right? So you're like, what kind of rust factor is going to be there? So he gets drafted, comes in, and all the story of training camp, guys, was he can't catch anything, right? Mm-hmm. He's dropping balls. And then the preseason games, dropping balls. There was I think it was the third preseason game of the year. They literally designed like a tunnel screen that was like a 5-yard route. Like let's just get the ball in his hand and help him get some confidence. And he dropped it. So you're like, oh my God, this is the worst pick ever. This is John Ross 2.0. Blah, 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 blah. And then just as the season went on, especially as the first game came on, he just started really hitting his stride. And then you're right. I think it's just the chemistry between those two has really grown. They seem to, really, they seem to hang out. They seem to, really work a lot after practice, that sort of thing. So, the one, in a way, I was saying this the other day too, where on one side, JMart Chase not playing last year in college football hurt him because he wasn't maybe as sharp, wasn't all that sort of thing. It took a little bit longer to get in the flow. But the upside of it was he's not hitting that rookie wall. Ramon, you know what I'm talking about, right? You come out of college football, you play 12 games plus a bowl game, and then it's January, and then you got to get ready for the combine, like the day after the bowl, and then you got your pro days, and then you got the draft, and then you go. So it's like a tired year of playing football. JMart Chase didn't have that, and I really think that factor, while it maybe helped him start off slow, that now late in the season he's not hitting that wall, not having those heavy legs like maybe some of those other guys are.
Yeah, and as far as this, this team goes, these fans, one thing for sure is going to be an insane Nissan Stadium. The fact that Cincinnati got their first playoff win in 31 years, man, I know this fan base is planning on traveling to Nashville the same way Buffalo Bills or Kansas City Chiefs do. What's the tempo of the city right now behind this team?
It's huge, and it's hard to really describe the feeling that Bengals fans had after winning this game. And I'm sure you read about it, the 31 years without a playoff win. It goes back to the Bo Jackson game and all that stuff. But it was really a team, a fan base that was, for the longest time, Ramon, was like just waiting. You're always waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? Like every year, especially during the Dalton years, it was like, okay, this team is good. But everyone was just waiting for something bad to happen, and damn it, it happens, right? Every single time it would happen. But I think everyone had confidence going to this game that Burrow's a different quarterback. This whole roster is young. I think there's maybe 3 guys, including the punter and the long snapper, that were around for the last playoff loss. Wow. So it's a completely new team, new coaching staff. They didn't really feel any of the pressure of the past failures in that regard. So they've gone out there and they went there and played really well. So I feel like the monkey's off the back of of the team and the fan base a little bit. I don't think that the team and certainly the team isn't, or the fan base is like, well, okay, this is good. We won a playoff game now. Okay, that's fine. We can lose this game. I think the team really, the fan base really believes in this team. I think they're going to travel well down the 4 hours and 16 minutes it takes to get down to Nashville, because I've made that drive a few times. I think they'll show up big, and I think it should be a great contest.
Yeah. So who wins the game, Rocky? Either upset Nashville or upset your own fan base up there in Cincinnati.
Pick one.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a lose-lose situation. I just, if I'm looking at it objectively, I think the Titans are going to win it, just because some of the injuries on the D line, especially if Henderson isn't back. I think it'll be close. I think right now the line's 3.5. I think it'll be right in there with the Bengals with a chance to win. But if I'm putting my money or Ramon's money on it, I'm gonna take the Titans.
Whoa, it's easy to bet with my money, Rocky.
Definitely easier to bet with this because he has so much of it.
Rocky, one more thing though is what about Mike Daniels playing this week? I saw he went out with a groin. Is he the type of guy that'll play through that?
I think so. I don't know enough about him, but I imagine he's going to be back. You know how it is, Ramon. Playoffs, whatever you got to do. The Toradol, the whole thing, whatever you got to do, get out there and play. I imagine he'll do all that stuff, and he should be ready to go, because you know how it is. This coach is run around the locker room. Hey, we need you. You got to be out there. Come on, blah blah blah. Right, getting you all hyped up and stuff. So I imagine that's going on.
One other quick one, even though I asked you the final question's usually who's going to win the game. Nobody talks about Zach Taylor. It just. I mean, when he got the job, nobody knew who he was. He was a Sean McVay nepotism hire, even though they weren't related. It's kind of how it was talked about. And now you've got Burrow, and you've got Chase, and you've got Mixon, and you got Hendrickson, and you've got Boyd, and you've got Higgins. You got all these guys that you can give all this credit to. So tell me, how good a job do you feel like Zach Taylor has done?
I think he's done a good job, especially considering where, coming from the end of last season to here. I think he's, not a lot of people were expecting him to do the kind of job he did this year, and the Bengals to have this record. I mean, I remember saying, before the season started, if he don't win at least 6 games, right? I mean, he's probably got to go, because I believe in guys growing into jobs and understanding and learning and giving guys a chance, but you couldn't waste the opportunity you had with Joe Burrow on a rookie contract, right? You guys know how it works. Worked with Seattle the way, when Russell Wilson was making that 4th-round contract money, they could afford to pay the Legion of Boom and all that sort of thing. And same thing with Mahomes. At some point, your quarterback becomes very, very, very expensive, which leaves you less resources to pay other guys to make up that team. So, it's important to win now for a lot of reasons, but in particular that one. So the fact that he was able to do that is great. Now, I would say this, that there's still some questionable decisions that Zach Taylor makes. I'm not totally sold on just and confident to say he's just some unbelievable coaching guy right now. There's a lot of great players on this team. Okay, I mean, and great players make great coaches. But I will say this: the one thing I can definitively say about Zach Taylor is, at no point, even the first couple years, which were really, really bad, through this year, I never heard anything internally about the players not believing in him, right? And in this day and age, I feel like with social media, and some player's going to make some comment on social media or something, and it's going to get out like, hey, man, maybe the players aren't believing in this coach. Maybe there's something in the locker room that never happened publicly, never happened anything I heard internally. For whatever reason, Zach Taylor has this team believing him, and they're buying what he's putting down. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's huge. We can sit here and question decisions that coaches make all day long, but at the end of the day, the most important thing is, does he have the locker room, and do the players believe in him? Ramon, you know this, Mike Tomlin, right? I mean, that he was a dude in my short stint with the Steelers. I was always in awe of the fact that he'd walk in the room and he'd say, man, here's what we're going to do.
Yep.
Here's how we're going to do it. Are there any questions? And everyone, nope. And whoever it was, if it was the best game plan or the crappiest game plan, you believed in it, because he had a way of delivering that. Yeah. He had a way for the players to believe in him. And I think, not to compare Mike Tomlin and Zach Taylor, but I think there's a little bit of that factor there where that the players believe in the plan that he has put in place, and I think that says a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's great stuff, Rocky. We'll let you get out before we have to ask you thoughts on Jerome Boger because we don't even have time to get them all out. But we're looking forward to the game Saturday. Hopefully it's going to be a good one. We think the matchup is great, and we'll see it again next year, of course, because they both won their division.
That's right. It should be a fun one. It should be a great game, and I'm looking forward to it. You guys, thanks again for having me on, and anytime, and we'll do it again soon, all right?
Sounds great. Rocky. That's Rocky Boyman. So one thing he said about what he thinks about this Bengals team and this Bengals fan base was something I was going to ask him if he didn't say it. And I have a thought on it, and it's why I'm picking the Titans to win this weekend.
I'd like to hear what you pour from it,
We'll do it after the break. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Welcome back. Our thanks to Rocky Boyman for joining us, giving the Bengals perspective on a Tuesday. He says it'll be right around that 3 line. Moan has the Titans winning by 50.
50.
Looking at the defensive numbers for the Titans, we'll do that in the third hour of the show. One thing Rocky Boyman said last segment that I was prepared to ask him the question, then he did it in the midst of an answer, is I don't think this fan base and this team, they won a playoff game and it's all good. They believe in this team. Mm-hmm. I agree with that, but I also think they may have already won the season.
Cincy?
Yeah, because they won a playoff game for the first time in 31 years. They made the playoffs. They look good. They got a rookie stud at wide receiver. They got a second-year quarterback that they can build around for the next decade. Mm-hmm. They made good moves in terms of Hendrickson and things like that. It seems like to me they already had their Super Bowl just by making it to the divisional round.
Yeah.
It's very I don't think the fans are going to be at anybody's throat in Cincy if they lose. This isn't going to be, and I don't think that's the case with Tennessee. I'm not saying that Tennessee has to win the Super Bowl this year, but if they were to go out and lose on Saturday, that's a disaster.
Yeah, that's a big time. Man.
It is a disaster. It's a huge disappointment. Yep. I don't think it will be viewed that way in Cincy. It'll be hopeful. It'll be, look what we just did. Can't wait for next season. We're only going to get better. We do need to get better on the O-line. We do need to blah, blah, blah. We do need to this. I think they've already won. I'm not saying they're playing with house money, but I think they're closer to the Cincinnati Bearcats that also play in their city in terms of just making it as far as they've made it is a statement in itself. Yeah. Everybody's going to say really nice stuff about Cincinnati if they go get beat on Saturday. All the podcasts, all the national guys, nobody's going to say what a letdown. They're going to say, man, that team won double-figure games. And they've got everything that you need to build for the future. Mm-hmm. That's one of the big reasons that I look at the Titans, because I think the Titans have unfinished business, and I think the business you could argue it's already concluded for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to lay down because they got a group of young guys who are very talented, confident, and they got a quarterback that's very good too. It's the idea, though, of, can they go on the road in a hostile environment and do the job again? And I just don't see that being the case. Now, again, crazy things can happen. But I've heard the history of this team as far as the Titans goes. They always play down or drop the ball in certain situations. I do think this team, from my young eyes on this team, has a different outlook on that approach. I think the focus is a little bit different. I think they got older guys that understand windows. I think they got older guys that understand opportunity in front of them. And I say this being fresh, having the ability to play in front of this home crowd for the first time and just a while to get this job done in this type of atmosphere, divisional round, first round bye, I think it'd be a bit much for Cincy this week, considering their injuries also.
615-737-1045. 737-1045. You can start to talk about this matchup all you want. You can talk about anything else that happened on Wild Card Weekend and what you're looking at across this league. When we come back after the headlines, I went to Pro Football Reference and put together just the stats in a lot of different categories for the Titans defense and how that could measure up for Cincinnati, what they're good at, what they're similar at to other opponents that Cincinnati has seen. So we'll just try to crunch some of the numbers when we come back. But we, again, we'll take your thoughts, 737-1045, or, of course, you can tweet us at JMart and Ramon. Back after the headlines with hour number 3 of the program here on The Zone.
It's a new year, and if a new vehicle is in your future, let me tell you about the Built For You program at Two Rivers Ford. Here's how it works. You can order any Ford, any color, any available features, and Two Rivers Ford will order it for you and have it delivered to your door when it is manufactured. That's a pretty cool thing. So when that vehicle gets manufactured in Detroit, it's got your name on the sticker. I like the sound of, let's say, the Ramon Foster Badlands Bronco in Cyber Orange. That's on my list right there. They also have new vehicles arriving almost every single day, so keep checking tworiversford.com. They have one of the largest selections in this state. Also, if you want someone at Two Rivers Ford to contact you to be on the lookout for the vehicle you want and alert you when it comes in, just give them a shout and they'll make sure you get a heads up when it's on the lot. The salespeople at Two Rivers Ford don't work on commission. That's important. So you never have to worry about them pressuring you. They are there simply to help you and make the process easy as possible for you. And I couldn't talk about Two Rivers Ford without reminding you that they are a local business and they've been right here in our community since 1983. And my friends, you know, a business that's been locally owned for almost 40 years, they're going to treat their customers right. So for all things Ford, reach out to the most trusted Ford dealer around, my friends at Two Rivers Ford. Two Rivers Ford, powered by Ford, driven by people.
8:02, good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. The final game of the wild card round in the NFL, the Los Angeles Rams cruised to a 34-11 victory over the Arizona Cardinals. Matthew Stafford went 13 of 17 for 202 yards and 2 touchdowns. Also ran for a score. It was the first playoff win in his career. His defense did pretty well as well. The Rams forced 2 Kyler Murray interceptions, including a pick-6 by David Long Jr. Cardinals had only 183 total yards. Mike Mayock fired as general manager of the Las Vegas Raiders after 3 seasons. To the ice, St. Louis defeated Nashville 5-3. Preds have dropped 3 in a row after winning 5 straight. John Morant, Desmond Bain scored 25 each as the Grizz defeated the Bulls 119-106. The Grizz have won 12 of 13. College basketball yesterday, Belmont defeated SIU Edwardsville 80-64. Number 24 Tennessee at Vanderbilt tonight at Memorial Gym. 8 o'clock is the tip. Pre-game starts at 7:30, courtesy of the Vol Network right here on The Zone. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once. On here over the Titans and Vols, this is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Hour number 3, JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. We're lifted up by our friends at All Four Seasons Garage Doors, allfourseasonsgarages.com. Go there today. One of the cheapest ways to really just change up your home, add some more lifestyle to it. A lot of people using them in creative ways. They can look at your home, come up with a good plan for you. And if you just need a new one, and that's what I needed a couple weeks ago, we just needed a new one.
Yeah.
So we got a LiftMaster, and that thing is fantastic. Might be one of the best things we have in our home right now.
Amazing what it could do for
no
you,
doubt.
right?
Allfourseasonsgarages.com. They came out, they recommended it. They put it in less than 2 hours. We're good to go. Good to go. Daryl on line 1, we're going to get to his call. So hang on with us, Daryl. I want to put out a couple of stats here as we tease before the break. By the way, we didn't do our version of the top 7, bottom 3. We're going to rank the 8 playoff teams remaining. We'll do it at the top of the 9 o'clock hour instead, right before we have Ron Slay on. Okay. So let's just look at it from the numbers. I went to Pro Football Reference to try to put all this together over the better part of the last 30 minutes or so. There's some good, there's some bad here, but certainly it's better than what it's been. They're 21st in the league in pressure rate against opposing quarterbacks, 24%. 22nd in quarterback knockdowns, 47 on the year. 10th in sacks, 43, which, of course, they had like 19 all of last season. Yeah. So they're tied for 10th, I think it is, actually, with 43. They're 6th in quarterback hurries. And this is a big-time deal. It's like, can you get Joe Burrow to throw before he wants to throw, before his guys are open? Mm-hmm. They've had 79 quarterback hurries this year for 11.2%. They are 28th in blitz percentage. The Raiders were dead last. They only blitzed 11% of the time. The Titans blitz about 19.9% of the time on the season. But neither one – basically what that means is they get pressure with 4.
With 4, yeah.
And that's big.
And more in coverage.
Right.
Yeah.
They're 8th in yards given up. And that means they've given up the 8th most yards.
Right.
They're 23rd, though, in touchdowns given up. They're top 10 in that category in the positive direction. They've only given up 24 touchdowns on the year. They've also picked off 16 passes, which is tied for 10th in the league. They're also 10th in yards after catch given up, which means they're actually 20th. They've given up 2,100 or 22nd. They've given up 2,107 yards after the catch this year. They're 30th in the league in defensive penalties. Only teams worse, Dallas and Pittsburgh. And those two teams also, you're including the game they just played.
Okay.
So both of them played over the weekend. They've had 118 defensive penalties this season, have the Titans for 1,070 yards.
Eesh.
That they're not going to want to see over the next 3 games.
No.
And then there's this. And this to me, I didn't know it was this good. They are 4th in the league in missed tackles.
Titans?
Yeah.
Sheesh.
They've missed 94 tackles on the season, which ties them, I think. Actually, I think it's tied. They've 94 missed tackles when you look at it. They are, okay, Denver is the best in the league, 84 missed tackles. Green Bay, 88. The Colts, 90. And then the Titans, 94. And then a fleet of teams at 95. So they're one of the best in the league at finishing tackles defensively. I did not realize that because I guess when you're watching a team every week, you see a lot of missed tackles. You don't realize everybody else is missing more than you are.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Interesting, man. It's the thing that I think could be huge, and it honestly worked both ways for these teams as far as missed tackles and opportunities, is the screen game. The Cincy and the Titans both have that really good setup of a delayed screen. Mixing in space is one thing that can be scary as far as, like, if he's not having a good run day, the screen game is where they've made a lot of hay and chunk yards too when it comes down to getting the ball out in space. That's one thing I will give them credit on when it comes down to that aspect of that offense is, yeah, you want to get after the quarterback because the 51 sacks is very appetizing. But the fact that, look, they can throw it in space to Joe Mixon, that's where the issues can arise. But that's also what the Titans do too, offensively.
Yeah, no kidding. All right. Daryl is on line 1. Daryl, what you got?
What's up, Daryl?
What's going on, man? Now, I'm Daryl, first-time calling from Tennessee. Not a Tennessee fan. I'm a Raider fan. Kind of disappointed in the way that the game went with Cincinnati this weekend with the calls. But it was a lot of things that we did on our own that impacted the game.
Mm-hmm.
But the only thing that I can say is, of all the teams that are left in the playoffs, the team that I would want to play is the Titans, because the Titans is really just the average team with a great running back who's coming off an injury. I wouldn't want to play Tom Brady. I wouldn't want to play Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow with Chase, who's explosive, Kansas City. Yes, the Titans beat them when they was down, but now the Chiefs are back. The Bills with Josh Allen, I wouldn't want to play them. The Rams with all the additions that they done had, they're coming together. Looking at them last night. So if I was a coach with a team, I would want to play a Titans because, yeah, they've won a lot of games this year, but they could have went either way. They barely beat the Bills. They barely beat New Orleans. The good teams, they barely won. Seattle came back did nobody think they was going to do that, but they did.
Mm-hmm.
They had the easiest schedule this year with Jacksonville, Houston. Indy was kind of hurt in the first of the season. Indy jumped out on them the second game. I don't know what Carson Wentz did. But just looking at all the teams that's left, the Titans is the team that I would want to play. And I'm going to hang up and hear you all comment.
All right, Daryl. By your own logic, I would probably rather play San Francisco because I definitely would rather see Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
Of the 8 teams that are left.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that people don't seem to understand as they try to evaluate the Titans is that this is not a quarterback-first team. They're the one team in the league that's built differently. And I'm not saying that makes them harder to deal with. Yeah. I'm just saying that you can't just say, well, I don't want to see Aaron Rodgers, I don't want to see Tom Brady, because when it comes down to the Tennessee Titans, there is not a soul coaching defense in the NFL wants to see Derrick Henry. And if he's 100% and he's ready to go, like that dude instills fear in everybody that he sees. And here's the thing, like you talked about Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase.
Yep.
I don't disagree.
I'm with him.
Tannehill and A.J. Brown's a pretty disgusting 1-2 punch on its own right.
I mean, Tannehill's walking around with a prison shank too. You know, like he's not going to say much, but he's calling shots. You know what I'm saying? To your point, like he's got his buddies too. Average, I can't give you average team with a running back. Seed. I can't give you that one. Let's not forget this average team also beat what Jake says, what national media calls it a damn good Buffalo team. They beat a really good Kansas City team.
They beat a San Francisco team that some might actually pick to beat Green Bay this weekend.
In Seattle, that second game of the year, I think everybody still had them at the top of the list.
The other thing that you mentioned is just like they barely beat. Yeah, I think Vrabel will take a 1-point win this weekend, a 1-point win at AFC Championship game, and a 1-point win in the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They're winning close games.
Mm-hmm.
Who cares? It does mean there's variability there. If one or two things go the other way, you lose. But to Ramon's point earlier, almost everybody wins a championship has to have luck along the way. Some things have to go their direction.
Yeah.
Sometimes it kind of feels like their year. They're getting healthy while the other team that they're playing on Saturday is going in the opposite direction.
Even Rocky said that. What did he say about Cincy? Cincy hadn't seen this.
No, they haven't.
They hadn't seen injuries all year long.
They haven't.
And then, okay, so the teams that they beat, okay, Seahawks. We was on the Russ train. I thought Russ was good, and they played a really good game out there and won on the road with their crowd in overtime. Had to come back. Beat the Colts when, hey, at that point, I know they were down and downtrodden at the time, but they beat them still in divisional opponent. Lost to the Jets. Bam, that happened. You know who also lost to the Jets? Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get the Jags. Okay, now here's the stretch that we were talking about. Beat the Bills, who everybody loved. Beat Kansas City, which everybody loved. Beat the Colts again in overtime, also lost Derrick Henry. Post Derrick Henry. Beat the Rams on Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football, whichever it was. Got the Saints. Lost to the Texans. Okay, lost to the Patriots. Patriots are out and got friggin' humiliated.
They ran into the rookie wall that we talked about with the quarterback and just not having enough skill talent.
Yup. Beat Jacksonville. Lost to Pittsburgh 13-19. Got the Darlings again. Got the Niners. Got the Dolphins. And then got the Texans at the end of the season. I wouldn't call them average. We got to be respectful. Y'all know where my allegiance is. Like, I play for another team, but the thing about, and I've told you guys, I enjoyed the game. Like, I respect what Joe Burrow and what Cincinnati's done. I even told somebody, regretfully, I'll say this. Cincinnati seems to have put together a good team finally.
Mm-hmm.
After all of these years. I will not knock them on that. But you can't say you're going to take one over the other when the other one has actually done a little bit more this year. Cincy's 10-7. They've given up numerous sacks in multiple games. They've also lost to some bad teams in this stretch also. So you can't say that they're freaking bulletproof when they've lost to the Bears, good or bad team. Probably a bad team. Head coach is fired. They lost to Green Bay in overtime. Give them credit on that one. They lost to the Jets. They lost to the Browns. They got friggin' humiliated by the Chargers, lost to the Niners, who the Titans beat, and, of course, the throwaway game was they lost to the Cleveland Browns last weekend of the season when no starters were playing. If anything, if you're saying the Titans are average, then I got to say, well, Cincinnati is average too then.
Of the 8 teams remaining, and, of course, the Titans one of those 8, so that would make it 7. The Titans have defeated 4 of those teams, 2 on each side.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City and Buffalo, San Francisco and the Rams.
Yeah.
And they didn't beat the other ones because they hadn't played them.
Yep.
Played them. I'm with you, Raiders fan. Like, I get where you're coming from. You're supposed to defend your team, but if you're a fan of the game, you can't just call them average.
I'm with you.
Of the game. You ain't even got to be a fan of the team.
But again, it's when you look at Tannehill, I think that's immediately why you say average. Because his entire argument centered around quarterback, Ryan Tannehill.
What did you say about this quarterback here, though? He don't really care.
No, I agree with that. Yeah, we've said that.
Yeah.
He doesn't. But I'm just saying that's always going to be the argument. Anybody that says the Titans are average says it because the quarterback just doesn't wow them. It's a name where they just see him in a Dolphins uniform and don't realize what he's been in this system.
What's Derek Carr then?
He's a name in a Raiders uniform. But Derek Carr has played well
a good
in the last
year
year.
this year. He did.
Last 2 years. 615-737-1045. Trey and Nashville will get to your call after the break. You can join them, 737-1045. It's wide open until the top of the hour. We'll do our rankings of the 8 playoff teams, and then Ron Slay will join us. JMart and Ramon, 1045 The Zone. Welcome back. JMart and Ramon is the name of the program. 104.5 The Zone. At JMart and Ramon on Twitter. Zone TV, if you're hanging out there, we appreciate you this morning. Hit the like button. Some of you seem to care about that, so hit that like button. That thumbs up sitting right there. If you want to put a thumbs down, why don't you go somewhere else?
Take it down the street, pop.
Yeah.
And we still gonna be here.
And if you're in the Zone TV with your handheld device, you have to close the chat for the like button to pop up.
Okay.
So just a heads up.
I did figure that out.
11-year NFL veteran, Vol for life, Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer, Jason Martin. We're here with you until 10. We're on Slay next hour, which means tacos will be in the building within the next hour.
Vols.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
615-737-1045. Back to the phone lines. Trey in Nashville. Trey, what's up?
Hey, what's up, fellas?
Hey.
What's going on?
Chilling. Hey, Ramon, why you always be trying to fact check me every time we get off the phone?
What are you talking about? What did I fact check you about this time?
About Tannehill having what, 24 touchdowns and 14 interceptions?
Yeah.
I was talking about all time.
Well, hold up. What, are we always focusing on the past with them or the future of them? Like, let's be
I
real.
always
We're
got to
talking
bring
about,
up old stuff.
We're talking about this year.
Oh, hey. So Kyler Murray took that beat down last
Yeah, he did.
night. Lord have mercy. What was that?
It was premature is what it looked like. He got his back blowed out in the end zone like Carson Wentz. Pause.
He got his back blowed out. Like Swagoo would say, he needed new security. He needed Jerome. He needed everybody last night.
Yeah, he did. And they are going to reset.
Hey, I think the Rams going to go into Tampa Bay and beat them.
Wow.
We need that. And I'm going to put that out there, and y'all have a good day, fellas.
Let me check the weather in Tampa. That's a factor. California weather versus this Florida, whatever that could be.
Just changing the topic for no reason at all. I'm going to ruin Rich Bisaccia for you forever.
What happened?
He looks like Bill Goldberg's father.
Oh, man.
Look at it and tell me I'm wrong.
Rick
They're probably around the same age.
That's right. He kind of looks like Bill Goldberg as a father. And Bill Goldberg is a father. He looks like a little bit older, more grizzled Bill Goldberg.
I wondered why he looked so familiar.
It's Goldberg, man. D'Angelo in Nashville. D'Angelo,
what's up, D'Angelo?
Hey, how y'all doing, man?
Doing well.
Hey, man, I've been listening to y'all radio station for probably about a month straight now. Like, I don't even listen to the regular radio. I'm just on 104.5 every day now.
Appreciate it.
Good stuff.
Once I get off of y'all, I go home and I'm watching ESPN.
Well, that's a mistake.
Like nobody putting respect on the Titans, man, and I'm just not understanding why. All they bring up is, well, let's not forget what they did last year. Last year, we couldn't even rush the quarterback. Last year, we barely could cover in the secondary. Last year, once A.J. Brown went out in the playoffs and Ryan Tannehill had to throw the ball to, man, I don't even know who the receiver was. That's not our problem this year. Yeah. If you double cover AJ, nobody's in a right mind is going to single cover Julio. It's just not going to work out for you. And you're definitely not going to single cover A.J. Brown because he can get open whenever he wants to. So with a Derrick Henry coming back, a healthy defensive line, a healthy secondary, and we probably have the best inside four linebackers, the best inside linebackers in the NFL that don't get the respect that they deserve. I'm not understanding the logic of people right now.
Yeah.
But I'm going to shut up, and I'm going to let y'all talk, man. I'm going to just let y'all speak on that situation, man. Appreciate y'all for letting me through.
Sure, D'Angelo. Look, here's the deal.
And that's the bottom line.
After that.
Because Stone Cold said so.
There it is.
Brad Hoppy told us this yesterday. He basically said this. It's been this way in this market forever. And we said this too. If you win a Super Bowl, maybe it shifts.
Yep.
But until that point in time, they're going to look for anything they can. They're basically like draft scouts. They're trying to find a reason to tell you not to believe in the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
I said yesterday to open yesterday's show, if you missed it, after listening to Robert Mays, will be on with us tomorrow, and Nate Tice in their post-Saturday night podcast. They did one after Saturday's game, Sundays and Mondays for The Athletic. I love their show. Love their breakdowns. They gushed about the Buffalo Bills in a way that was uncomfortable to listen to. At one point, Nate Tice said, Oh, Josh Allen. Oh, baby. And I was just like, man, I think you needed like an account and a registered credit card to hear stuff like this.
Pretty much.
Like, it was insane. And I get it, right? If the Bills look like that, if the Bills play that way, no one will beat them.
But they've been waiting on that, though.
That's the thing.
You know?
It was already baked into the cake before the season that the Buffalo Bills were good, that the Buffalo Bills were going to win the division, that the Buffalo Bills were the biggest threat to the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC, that the Buffalo Bills could win the Super Bowl, that Josh Allen has, top 5 arm talent all time, one of the greatest players in the history of the league already, all this other kind of stuff. It was already baked into the cake. So this is what happens. And look, lawyers do this. If you've got a court case, right, you just throw out the evidence that doesn't help you.
Right.
And you focus on what does. So you can forget about the Jacksonville game as fast as you want to and just make the case based on the New England game and not talk about the fact that the Patriots were woefully understaffed on the field in terms of skill, talent, and speed at wide receiver in particular. They look slow. They look like a Big Ten team. They look like Michigan against Georgia in that game. But Josh Allen's better than Stetson Bennett. Now, Buffalo is really good, but Buffalo has been up and down.
Yep.
And to those that say this is what happened, once you got to the second half of the Bucs game, that's when it all clicked for Brian Daboll and Ken Dorsey and Josh Allen and this offense. And look, Isaiah McKenzie's now an absolute weapon and all the stuff. Like, now they can run the ball too. Can they? And talking about how great New England's defense is. Yeah, they lost 3 of their last 4 games. The only one they won was against Jacksonville, and it was a 50-10 game. They beat a bad team, a really bad team, and lost to everybody else. It's not that Buffalo's not good. It's that the narrative that was there first, Moan, the one that everybody did, the thing that we all love to do is find stuff that makes our case for us.
Yeah.
And then say, hey, look what I said back in September about the Bills. Here's the team we knew they were going to be. Now it's full steam ahead to SoFi.
Yeah. And this is the other part of it, too. Preseason odds is what I'm looking at as we get to these callers, Jay. The Titans got 2 teams that were ahead of them that didn't make the playoffs. Cleveland Browns, odds were higher, and also Baltimore Ravens. Both of them were ahead of the Titans as far as
the
Super Bowl
Chargers were probably in the mix. The Colts were probably in the mix.
To that point, though, it's a bunch of teams that are in it still that are actually, odds. Kansas City, Tampa, Bills, Rams, Niners, Packers, and then you got Ravens and Browns, and then you got Titans. So you down the list, still pretty high up, but down the list when it comes to odds.
Yeah, it was like 10th, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yep.
And again, all those numbers mean absolutely nothing. There's 8 teams playing, and one of them is the Tennessee Titans. Let's go to Jason. He's in Nashville. Jason, what's up?
Yeah, this goes back to that earlier caller saying that we had an easy schedule. This is one of those come-on moments. How's he going to say we got the easiest schedule? We ran the gauntlet with 4 games right there in a row. The Bills, the Chiefs, going out to Los Angeles, the Rams, and then into Indy. We ran the gauntlet, and with 91 different players, come on, man. How you going to say we had the easiest schedule? If anything, we had the hardest schedule in the NFL.
Well, I will say that after Derrick Henry went down, the numbers said you had the 3rd easiest schedule, something like that. Either the 1st or the 3rd easiest schedule in the league going down the stretch. So I think that's what you lean on there because it's after that gauntlet. They went 6-3 without Derrick Henry, but they saw the Saints with Trevor Siemian and no Alvin Kamara. They played the Texans and actually lost that game. They played against New England on the road. They lost that game. And that one, New England is New England. At the time, they were firing on the right cylinders. But then you look at some of the other teams that they saw. Miami was overmatched. Texans in the final week of the season. The Steelers were not good, but they made the playoffs. So there you go. The Niners, they beat. And the Niners are a pretty good football team. So, I think that they're basing that on the strength of schedule numbers that were put out for the last 6-7 weeks of the season.
I always want to point this out, though, is you look at the Patriots, who were able to do what they did, and they were in a division that was straight up trash for most of their run for 20 years. The Jets would occasionally pop up. Miami, Buffalo, that division was garbage. And they made it garbage. The Patriots did everything they can to make that division garbage so they could get one of the top 2 seeds. So the Titans, they're in a garbage division. and they lost that one game against the Texans when they turned the ball over 20 times in that game. But they shouldn't be knocked for it when the Patriots didn't get knocked for it and won those Super Bowls.
Sometimes they did.
True, but it doesn't seem like they have it held over their head.
According to this list, the Titans had the 13th hardest schedule with their average. The teams they were facing were above 500.
Now, it was easier down the stretch, but look at everybody they were also missing going down the stretch, too.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, all these things get factored in. I just think that if you want to make the case for trying to knock the Titans' schedule, just the pure strength of schedule that was put out that everybody was leaning on is where they're going to. I think that's all garbage because you saw Pittsburgh had to win.
Mm-hmm.
San Francisco needed to win, skated into the playoffs, but it wasn't an easy road for them. Other teams had to fall around them. The Dolphins had to win, and you knocked them out. You basically helped end the season of multiple teams that came in with their best shot that needed to beat you and could not do it. Nate in Hendersonville. Nate, what's up?
What's up, Nate?
What's up, guys? Let me start with this little traffic report up here in Hendersonville. The fog is thick.
Oh, boy.
Still?
It is thick. I'm driving, talking to y'all, so I hope this thing doesn't end violently.
Please.
But I'm not going to do that to you, Ramon. Let me say this. People hate facts and stats, right? Tannehill comes in at number 12, finishing the season in quarterback ratings, right behind Patrick Mahomes, who everybody wants to get on now because of what they did to Pittsburgh the other night. But we've got A.J. Brown, who's back, team's healthy. Hopefully we've got King Henry, and if he can play near 100%, that's a difference maker. But I want to ask y'all a question. Why is Mike Vrabel not talked about enough? Like, what has he only done the last few years in Tennessee except find a way to fight and grind and get wins? Took a team out of nowhere to the AFC Championship a couple of years ago. Got a divisional win last year, championship. Looking like the one seed this year with, nobody out there talent-wise around him for a little bit. And all we've done is won with one of the toughest coaches. Like, is he not factor into this at all? And I'll listen to y'all. I'm curious about your thoughts on this.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nate. We appreciate that. I would push back and say he is being talked about a good bit now.
He is.
Last year he wasn't. Of course, last year they went out in their first playoff game. They made the playoffs, but if you're a Tennessee Titans coach and you make the playoffs and you get beat, nobody's going to talk about you. Because the same point that we made about that Hoppy made about this market and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
This year he's coach of the year. All due respect to Taylor and LaFleur, who does have Aaron Rodgers, and anybody else that you want to name.
Yeah.
Mike Vrabel is the coach of the year this year. 91 players is enough for me. To be the number one seed and to have suited up 91 guys and to have lost an MVP candidate in Derrick Henry the night of Game 5 of the World Series and to still be where you are right now, I don't even think it's a fair fight. I think it's Vrabel in a walk. I do think, by the way, he's going to win it too.
Yep. I think so, too. And the reason he's not talked about, let's be real, smaller market. I don't think Nashville is a small market. It's a smaller market. And the way in which you won also, it wasn't sexy. You didn't have the name guys for the majority of this year. They were either in and not contributing a whole lot. And then, of course, we heard Rocky bring this up, too, and we heard other callers bring this up about what's the number one factor in all of these things? Your QB. And that's not saying Tannehill's not good. It's the fact that a lot of people want to attach themselves to a team that has a stud type of quarterback or a guy that you know. Or, hey, first pick, let me get him. Those are the factors. It's not as sexy as the other teams. Like, think about Cincinnati, what they got going on. Heck, even me, a guy that's
there. I was so excited to watch them in this playoffs because Burrow's exciting.
Because why?
Jamar Chase is exciting. They have glitzy guys. Like, I understand why Kansas City and Buffalo is where a lot of people want to be this weekend.
Because why?
Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, names, glitz. At the quarterback spot, glitz.
Why are they the late game?
Well, they're the CBS Sunday game.
See what I'm saying?
Because Nance and Romo were going to be there. Did you hear Troy Aikman on Sunday?
I was listening, didn't hear him.
He was openly upset that he had to call that game and couldn't call Cowboys-Niners. He even said, he goes, sure would like to call that one
just to let
the Eagles are getting blown out. He was basically like, because we're seeing a 7 seed right now.
And he's the show because
he and Buck are the A team.
Yeah.
Like, you did get the GOAT. I mean, you got Tom Brady, but you didn't get the matchup that was probably going to be better.
Right.
But it's a star-made league, and I'm gonna make another comparison after the break about a guy that still somehow is not talked about enough on the Titans offense. That I'm going to compare to another guy, and it's real high praise. Plus, Joey, Andrew, Chris, Jason, all your calls after the breaks.
We will.
We will. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
We are on to the divisional round of the NFL playoffs, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is celebrating with a huge odds boost for new customers. Counting down to Super Bowl 56, you can get 56-1 odds on any team. Bet just $5 and get $280 in free bets if your team wins. If you're not a new customer, that's fine. You can still get in on the action of the divisional round with same game parlays. You know what it means. You combine multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. The more legs you add, the more money you can win. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. And then the best part about that, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want to. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the promo code WGFX and get 56-1 odds on any NFL team. Meaning you can bet $5 and win $280 in free bets if your team wins. But you got to use the promo code WGFX for 56-1 odds at the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. And you must be 21 years or older and present in Tennessee to bet. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbooks for details. And if you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Mike Vrabel. It is JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone, powered by our pals at All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Lift up your garage door game today, just like I did a couple of weeks ago. Go to allfourseasonsgarages.com today. All right, so I was going to do this, and then we'll get to the phones. Let's see. Injuries in 2012. Needed right ankle surgery after messing up ligaments while playing basketball. Grade 2 PCL strain. Missed the last 3 games. Strained his knee, but was able to play on it. Fell on his shoulder awkwardly. Sprained his AC joint. Didn't miss games. Minor groin injury in practice. Didn't miss game time. Minor hip strain. Missed a quarter. Suffered an ankle injury at practice. Wasn't serious, but knocked him out of 3 preseason games. Hamstring injury. Tore his ACL. Missed the 2016 season. Came down hard for a touchdown pass. Hard on his back. Lacerated his kidney. Non-surgical procedure. Was placed on IR. Awkward pull against the Broncos. Had to leave with a sprained ankle. Missed the final 2 games of the season. All these, there's more here, but this is an injury history of a player that I want to compare a Titan to right now, because it's somebody that, even though he gets talked about, I don't think he gets mentioned enough.
Who's that?
I'm just going to make the comparison, and I'm not going to say anything else. A.J. Brown is Keenan Allen 2.0.
I can see that.
He's talked about.
Mm-hmm.
The league knows how good he is. But when you start talking about great receivers in the NFL, most people don't start talking about A.J. Brown.
No.
Yet he's almost impossible for anybody to deal with when he's right.
And Keenan has been murking people for years. Yeah, that's a great comparison.
I'm not saying they're the same in terms of build or anything else. I'm saying in terms of the way that they're talked about and what they're capable of doing for their franchise. And that's a high compliment, because I think Keenan Allen
he's been
A1 and has been for a long time. A.J. Brown, because he's in Nashville, is closer to Keenan Allen. I mean, they're already saying Justin Jefferson's top 4 player at his position in the league. And I don't necessarily disagree.
Mm-hmm.
But he's in Minnesota. They talk about him more.
Yep, they do. They do. That's a great comparison, Jay. And you mentioned Keenan Allen's name, you nod your head like, yeah.
And I mentioned the injuries because AJ's had these, here and there. He's had various stuff of the bone bruise, the stuff this year. Just all of that kind of stuff. It's just like, I could see those two guys having similar careers, which if it's true, then AJ's probably going to have a pretty solid career. Already certainly on board. Let's go to Cousin Andrew in Portland next. Andrew, what's up?
Hey, good morning, ladies. How are you?
We're doing well, Andrew.
I can't wait
let
to
me,
see you.
Yeah, I had to be petty because, that's how it's been this morning in the chat, so I figured I'd go ahead and bring it to the airways. Hey, listen, 2 quick things. Number one, the people that continue to ask questions and say things about how our team and people on our team don't get talked about, I want people to understand and realize that it's about ratings. And the national media are not going to focus on small market teams. It just is what it is. Just like this show is going to focus on the Titans, whether we're 2-14 or the number 1 seed in the playoffs. So I love you guys, but get over it. I mean, that's kind of the way I see it. Like, who cares? But more to my point, I'm trying to figure out what I've heard a lot from callers that you guys have had on, not the fans, but people that have come on the show for you guys to interview and such. It's been, what quarterback would you rather have? That argument to me is kind of confusing, because if you look at it, yeah, you would take probably Burrow over Tannehill. A lot of people would. I don't know that I would, but a lot of people would. Look what Kyler Murray did last night. Nothing.
Yeah.
Look what Jimmy Garoppolo did. You would take Dak over Garoppolo. What I don't understand is why people think that the quarterback is the reason that teams always win. If you look at this team, Tannehill played like the best he could when we had nobody in there. No Derrick Henry, no A.J. Brown, no Julio Jones. And we won those games because it's a team effort. I just don't understand the narrative that the better quarterback's going to win. I don't get it. I wish you guys would help me understand that, because it just doesn't make sense to me. So, I'll have a good one.
Okay. Well, first off, I would say Stafford as a pure quarterback is going to do more for you than Kyler Murray.
Yeah, that's evident.
Jimmy G and Dak are closer to being the same guy than people want to admit. Dak is really good, but Dak can be inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Garoppolo made it to a Super Bowl. Dak has never done that. Jimmy Garoppolo is somebody that they should move on from in San Francisco. The other thing is, generally the best quarterback does tend to win, but there are also ways for that great quarterback to have the team around him fail and lose.
Yeah.
Coaching, Kingsbury and McCarthy.
Personnel.
Look at both of them. McCarthy making those errors late in the game, the way that they set all of that up, and then no adjustments for Kingsbury.
Yep.
That's where I think that I think the Titans should get more credit because Vrabel doesn't generally do that. And McDermott doesn't generally do that. And Andy Reid used to be knocked forever because he used to do it in Philadelphia. He doesn't really do it in Kansas City.
No.
Zach Taylor hadn't had enough time to screw it up yet. But I think that is part of it. The best quarterback does oftentimes win.
Mm-hmm.
The reason the Chiefs have a Super Bowl is because they had Mahomes, the other guy had Garoppolo.
Yep.
And it came down to two throws, one that their guy couldn't make and one that your guy could.
Yep, facts.
Tom Brady last year, Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, whoever won, those quarterbacks are elite of elite, A1 of A1. There is more to it than that, but great quarterback play does give you a huge advantage because it's the most important position in all of team sports.
I agree with that. It's the most important, unless you got a killer side of your ball or a killer athlete somewhere else. Like I always think about the Ravens. They had a killer defense. With both of their quarterbacks they won Super Bowls with.
Killer defense as well as a great running game.
Titans right now. Really good defense. I don't know if it's killer just yet.
It's not like Ravens level, but it's certainly we said before the year, if they could just be middle of the pack and the offense doesn't fall off, they could win it all.
Let's be real. Ben Roethlisberger and that monstrous defense he had early on, like one of the greatest defense assembled. Shafe can speak to that personally, you know, and people give Ben flack about that. But you know what? 2 Super Bowls later. That's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes.
Look at Denver. I mean, when we had Manning.
Yeah. A shell of himself.
Peyton could have won it the year they lost, the year they got boat raced by the Seahawks. But it was the defense. It was Vaughn and those guys destroying Cam Newton that won that Super Bowl. And Peyton would be the first one to tell you that.
Yeah, he would. Eli mocked them about it, I feel like.
Well, they mock each other continuously.
Eli, another one.
Yeah, absolutely right.
So it ain't got to be the perfect guy. It just so happens that the perfect guy always get elevated, i.e. Tom. Mahomes.
I mean, Tom last year it was the Tampa Bay defense against that beat down offensive line that turned that thing into a laugher. Last year, Jason, Chris, Cousin Mike, Cousin Joey. Man, there's a lot of calls. We're gonna get to them after the top of the hour headlines. I know we want to rank playoff teams. Maybe we'll have Ron. Maybe we'll do it with Ron. We'll have him here. He can do it too. So if you're listening, Ron, start figuring it out.
Be prepared.
Slay will be on in about 25 minutes. All your phone calls, we're gonna run through them. After the break. It is JMart and Ramon 104.5 The Zone. Hey, if you got a wet basement or crawl space, United Structural Systems can take care of it for you. I've been telling you about them since day one here on the show. They've been in our community in Middle Tennessee since '94. Over 20,000 satisfied residential customers and counting. Not a, but the go-to company when it comes to foundation repair, when it comes to waterproofing. That wet basement and crawl space, not good for your home. It devalues your home. It shortens the life of your home. You're breathing 2/3 of the air you're breathing comes straight from that crawl space. So it's not good for your family either. So you got to get it fixed. And there's a lot of different potential causes: poor drainage, plumbing leaks, surface water over the walls, underwater pressure, just forcing extra water into your basement. All these are possible causes. The team at United Structural Systems will find out for sure. They're going to find out why you have a wet basement or crawl space. They'll give you the plan to fix it. Then you make the call. You decide to move forward. You don't pay a dime until the work's done, until they know you're satisfied. So you got nothing to lose, everything to gain for your home. Call for that free estimate. Find out how much it's going to cost to fix from the people I trust. The telephone number to do it, 615-227-2275. 227-2275 or online at USSTN.com. United Structural Systems.
9:02, good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. The final game of the wild card round in the NFL was last night. The LA Rams cruised to a 34-11 victory over the Arizona Cardinals. Matthew Stafford, 13 of 17, 202 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also ran for a score. It was the first playoff win in his career. Mike Mayock has been fired as general manager of the Las Vegas Raiders after 3 seasons. To the NHL, St. Louis defeated Nashville 5-3. The Preds have dropped 3 in a row after winning 5 straight. John Morant and Desmond Bain scored 25 points each as the Grizz defeated the Bulls 119-106. Grizz have won 12 of 13. To basketball, Belmont defeated SIU Edwardsville 80-64. Basketball's in action tonight. Rick Barnes in Tennessee at Vanderbilt at Memorial Gym. Vols go into the game ranked 24th and looking to bounce back from a terrible loss to Kentucky over the weekend. 8 o'clock will be the tip, 7:30 pregame courtesy of the Vol Network. And Josh Heupel named the Steve Spurrier First-Year Coach Award winner along with South Carolina's Shane Beamer. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? 4th hour, hashtag fastest 4 hours in radio. Upon you, upon us, we're blessed to bring it to you courtesy of All Four Seasons Garage Doors right here in Nashville. All4seasonsgarages.com. Go there. I did it 2 weeks ago. You should do it too. Yeah. Tell them you want the same LiftMaster they put in JMart's house. Tell them you want the same LED light, the same panel, the same access to the app, all of it. Say you want the JMart special. They're going to build a statue for me outside of All Four Seasons like they did Nick Foles outside of in Philadelphia.
You ain't wrong.
They call him the LiftMaster too.
He carried that team after Carson Wentz couldn't.
Indeed. So I finally did these rankings, so we'll do them when Ron comes in.
Sheesh, yep.
To the phones because you guys want to chat with us. Let's go to Cousin Joey in Cross Plains. What's going on, Joseph?
What's up, my fam?
Hey.
Okay, so to the caller, Daryl, shut the hell up. Your team got knocked out. You ain't won a playoff game since the early 2000s. Second point, yes, you may want to face the Titans with Tannehill as quarterback, but you don't want to face the Titans with Derrick Henry as the running back. Because he does what Marshawn did back in the day. He'll hit you in the face over and over and over, over and over and over, and over and over and over. Dude, he's a beast. And this team is built off the run. We tried the quarterback, back in the day with VY, and it was an epic fail. Well, the one season where he won Rookie of the Year. Mm-hmm. But after that, it was an epic fail. Kerry Collins came in. He did all right, got us to the number 1 seed. We got knocked out because those rats with wings up north tried to rip off CJ's foot. But this team it goes with the run. You don't want to see Derrick Henry, especially if we have any type of weather, because it's going to hurt 10 times as worse, especially when he gets that big piece of 6-inch rebar out there, and you run smack dab into it, and he throws you out into orbit or tosses you in the stands.
Lit him up real quick.
And then just stop talking. Like he was just like, bam.
And that was the bottom line because he had no more.
I have thought about having our guy Courtney make a shirt for us that just says, Josh Norman. Because every Titans fan will know exactly what it means.
Yeah. Got lifted into the stratosphere.
Could be, man. We haven't seen a stiff arm in a while. It'd be nice to see the Winter Soldier put on the metal arm and get it done.
Oh, no doubt.
On Saturday. To John in Hendersonville next. John, what's going on?
Hey, guys. I'm hearing you talk about everybody keying on quarterbacks and the skill positions. It brought something to my mind. The national media is going to talk about quarterbacks and the skill positions, but because that's what everybody sees when they watch a football game. But Vegas doesn't see that, and people wonder why the numbers are what they are, because Vegas is looking at the offensive and defensive lines. The football games are won on offensive and defensive lines. Take, for example, the national championship game. Everybody was wondering how in the world could Georgia be favored over Alabama after being beat by 17 points, basically at home. Well, they're favored because they had the better offensive and defensive lines, and that was clear in the game.
It was.
Okay. Well, I will say this. I will push back against that because Vegas lines almost always stay the same unless a quarterback is out. Like when J.J. Watt missed a whole season, he was MVP candidate with the Texans like years ago. He goes out with one of his many injuries, misses the whole year. The line didn't drop in terms of their win total, in terms of anything else. When a quarterback goes out, everything shifts. Very few times does that happen for a position player outside of a quarterback from a Vegas line because, again, the lines are set to create action.
Right.
Lines aren't necessarily who's going to win, who's going to lose. It's what number can we place this at to get the most action on both sides of this so that we can cash in either way. So the quarterback moves that needle. And, the national media is going to focus on it because the quarterback is why people watch. The quarterback's the number one celebrity that you're going to be able to find in the NFL. To his point, though, yes, games are often won and decided in the trenches. But I don't think Vegas is doing it. Vegas doesn't drop a line because Trent Williams is out, for example. It never happens.
Right. No, it's not going to happen.
Doesn't mean it shouldn't. Sometimes it maybe should, but it doesn't.
And that's the part, too. People, and I've learned this over this last 2 years, people who bet watch that type of stuff, though. Because you understand what's at stake.
They watch the freaking air quality. For real. If it's your money on it, you're like, what's the dew point?
That's so true.
Yeah.
But Vegas, some people just bet on the surface, and that's how Vegas gets you.
Yep. Because you think you know because of one factor, and then there's 17 other factors. That's why the people that won FanDuel and all the stuff that they were doing back in the day when they were doing the daily fantasy and they were in court about it and all that, those guys had all these algorithms set up with all these formulas and everything else. It was like physics professors that were winning all this money. It's like, well, how's that happening? Well, because there's a lot that goes into this that only eggheads know.
Why do you think they outlaw counting cards? Oh, it's not outlaw. It's frowned upon, I think is what it is.
Well, if you get caught, you're going to lose your legs.
But it's the same thing that happens with those people that were, beating FanDuel and DraftKings and everybody else. They had the recipe.
Absolutely right.
It's
always like Harvard graduates and stuff like that are beating the casinos. Ben Mesrick made a friggin' career talking about geniuses at Harvard. He also wrote that's how Facebook got started. Let's go to Jason in Nashville next. Jason, what's up?
Jay?
Hey, thanks for taking my call. Love the show, man.
Thank you.
I just wanted to call you guys. I mean, with this thing, I'm a Niners fan, and I know for a fact that, Jimmy Garoppolo is our handicap. I'll go ahead and admit that. I mean, when we played the Titans, he was y'all's MVP. So, I mean, and I was nervous through the whole game at Dallas because I knew dude's bound to make a mistake. And
he tried.
It was almost critical. Because he threw the interception and Dallas goes down and scores. But my thing I feel just a little bit better about him because he knows this is his last year and it's a win-win situation because if he does better, it's better for him and it's also better for our franchise because we'll get a better pick for him. But I wanted to see what you guys' thoughts are on if he doesn't throw a pick. What are our chances up against Green Bay? Because I also know that Aaron Rodgers is leaving next year, so that plays a factor in how he's going to perform, even though he's a good quarterback anyways. All right, well, thanhanks for your time.
Sure, Jason. I think you guys have a shot to beat them because you're a good matchup for Green Bay.
Yeah.
If Fred Warner's healthy, Fred Warner's one of the best linebackers in the game right now.
Yeah.
They're pretty good on the back end. You have skill talent offensively that's a matchup problem for absolutely everybody in the league.
Yep.
Debo, I don't know what you're supposed to do against him.
I don't even know.
Kittle, they actually sort of took out of the game. Tennessee took him out of the game, and then Dallas was able to take him out of the game. But the problem was other guys ate.
The other problem was he was blocking his you-know-what off, too.
Yeah.
That's the other aspect of Kittle that was just – I had to explain that to my boys. It was like, why doesn't George – I'm like, well, Kittle – blocks his butt off. Like, he's a dual threat. I had to, really have a breakdown with him. Like, yeah, you take him away, but he actually takes, I think, blocking more serious.
I mean, he's an old school, old mentality kind of guy.
Yep.
But you also, Juszczyk is a weapon Elijah Mitchell was running the ball really well for you guys. Ayuk, they finally discovered is good.
Yep.
And they're starting to use him again. Jawan Jennings has been, if you heard them talking about Jawan Jennings on the broadcast on Sunday, Romo, that's who's doing the game, right? Ramon Nance?
Yeah.
I think so.
Uh-huh.
They were talking about how Shanahan gushes about Jennings' heart. And I was just like, we knew this.
Yep.
We said somebody's going to take a chance on him and he's going to pay off for him because there is nobody who wants it more, that is more of a dog and a competitor I've ever seen maybe than him.
Mm-hmm.
The way he played at Tennessee. They have the kind of team that can give Green Bay fits. To your point, though.
Yeah.
Can Garoppolo not trip over his own feet and allow the rest of that team to do what it could do? Because if they make it tough on Green Bay, all they have to do is just force Aaron Rodgers into one or two bad mistakes, because usually playoff games are decided by 4 or 5 plays. How they go.
Mm-hmm. And Jimmy finds a way to do that type of stuff. It's a great point, too, about his value. If he does go out and win this week, like his trade value to whatever team, that wants him, San Francisco should still be a relevant team.
And he's still an upgrade over a lot of starters in the league.
No doubt.
He's just not great.
There are holes to fill in different teams. I mean, I'd say Houston. I'd say Pittsburgh. I'd say, heck, if Green Bay, if Aaron does leave Green Bay, I mean, there's options there. Like, there's numerous teams. I mean, even the Saints. I know they got Jameis, but Jameis is coming off of ACL.
There will be a home for him. If he's out of San Francisco, there will be a home for him.
Yeah.
Ron Slay said he's coming in hot. He sent just a bunch of fire emojis in a text message.
He just did. Sure did.
Yep. I don't know if that means he's in the parking lot or he's breaking the speed limit somewhere on the way in. I know Cuzzo Mike's on the line. We'll take his call to lead us off, and as Slay walks into the studio, we will rank the 8 playoff teams when we come back. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
Baker Burwell is the disability brokerage financial professionals can count on to deliver disability insurance education, products, and service. What is your most valuable asset? A lot of people are going to tell you, man, it's my home. I'm here to tell you, think again. It is your income. This may sound crazy, but let me explain to you. Let's say you make about $150,000 a year and you're 35 years old. Even if you never get a pay raise, you'll make about $4.5 million in your working lifetime. I'm guessing your house might be a little bit less than $4.5 million, even in this Nashville crazy housing market. As a former pro athlete, it wasn't a thought to me ever about insuring my income or my career. And I'm sure the same applies for you also. Have you considered what would happen if you couldn't continue your career due to health or an injury? I'm here to tell you, for about 2 or 3% of your income, you can insure your pay up to 60% tax-free. Don't let your next paycheck be your last paycheck, okay? One thing we've learned over this last 2 or 3 years is bad things happen to good people. Baker Burwell is the best resource for financial advisors and insurance agents when providing solutions for income protection. They are a trusted friend working with your trusted advisor to make sure you are properly insured. Think about them, too. They are local, and they just want to see their community be protected and win. So give them a call at 615-309-5958 or use their website at bakerburwell.com.
coming in hot does indeed just mean not quite on time. All the fire emojis just mean you can add those seconds to the ones where you would be in studio.
Mm-hmm. Bang, bang, bang.
Maybe you ran the same problem with me where you get to the car and realize, oh, I can't.
Or your doors won't shut like my truck did.
That gives us
this
the time
morning.
to go to Cleveland then. Let's talk to Goody Mike. What's going on, Cuzzo?
A
How
lot
are you?
of snow, man.
Top of the doing.
There he is.
Goody. Yeah, snowed in, but I'm still in good spirits. 4-day weekend. I'm gonna look at it as a blessed time. But
There you go.
Yeah, for sure. But I was calling because we talking about Henry, we talking about Tannehill, we talking about AJ. Let me ask y'all this: who you gonna double team, AJ or Julio? Who you think get double team?
I think AJ does.
Yes.
AJ.
But Julio is still Julio.
That's true.
We brought him here. For the playoffs. Everybody, I'm looking at it like this. Bengals, they like to go downfield. They like JMart Chase. That's a bad man right there. Cannot deny him. Young boy bad. But Julio is still Julio. You double team AJ. You got 8 in the box, focusing on Henry, and AJ is still out there. Julio was still out there. These last couple of games, him and Tannehill tried to go downfield with some deep balls. They didn't connect right, and I think some of that is because they didn't have that chemistry together. Well, they got a little bit more in-game chemistry, and then, they didn't have these practices all for this week. And plus, Julio, he wants that Super Bowl. So right now, all the desperation is on him to go out there and get that Super Bowl because he's on his last hamstring. Real talk. So I just think, Julio is going to be a factor. If not in this game, the next game. You did,
Yeah,
I just think, So I just think, I just wanted to call and speak on that. Real talk, just because I think we canceling them out too soon. It's the time we brought him in for. So let's see what that Julio gonna do. Let's see what that Hall of Famer gonna do.
Yeah.
Y'all stay blessed.
You
All
too.
right, Mike,
Stay
appreciate
safe.
it. Look, they need him. They need him to be the guy. And we said this, if he doesn't play again in the regular season, he was brought in here to win playoff games.
Yeah.
If he comes in and he performs in the playoffs, this signing's a win. If he comes in and he makes plays now, it's a win.
As well.
AB didn't do much in the regular season for the Bucs, but he actually showed up for him a little bit in the playoffs last year.
Mm-hmm.
So that signing was a win. With all the headaches and everything else, he helped them win the Super Bowl.
Got a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Exactly right. If Julio Jones comes out and does that over the next 3 games, it's going to be okay.
Tell you another guy, too, that we kind of dismiss, NWI.
Yeah.
We don't dismiss him, but the 2 prime guys you always bring up. The Titans have weapons. He's a true number 3 at this point. You know what I'm saying? As far as Julio's concerned, of course, I think you go AJ, Julio, to NWI.
Well, and you know who's emerged late in the season now that he's been healthy?
Who's that?
A guy who was recently a guest on this show.
Oh, yeah.
Anthony Ferkser.
Ferkser.
They could certainly use him. Uzama has been very good down the stretch for Cincinnati.
He's that touchdown to him, I think, is what turned that game against the Raiders when Burrow just snuck it, right in there.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they shot everything they had against the Raiders, and it's the playoffs time. You should leave no stone unturned as far as getting a win during the playoffs. So Uzama, he's a guy he's on notice. You gotta have him. You gotta lock him down because going across the middle, as far as dinking and dunking, that's a huge thing for Cincinnati. As far as Joe Burrow getting that ball out quick, because his line can't hold up. And I know they're supposed to get Philo, I think, back this week. Their guard. They're he's destinated to come back to return. I just don't know if he's still gonna play.
Right.
That's gonna be this matchup is good. Like I know I said that the Titans will boat race them, and I do think that's the case. I think they find a way to fold at the end, but they're gonna battle early. I'm riding on that one.
Boat race sounds disrespectful.
All right, see, that's
a term. I think you need to pull back off.
hedgy.
You need to turn that. You need to pull back off that word.
Not.
We have to define what boat race means.
I said they beat them by 2 touchdowns.
I don't think that's boat racing.
That's not boat racing. What I think, is
that's
I think they dominate
win.
the game.
That's a convincing
more.
win.
The Titans will dominate this game more.
Okay.
Boat racing, it's like 21 points.
Yeah.
All right, I got 14 to 17-point win.
Okay.
Okay.
With control of the game.
Okay.
That's where I'm at. And it's not because of the hate. I just honestly think the Titans are at a point.
You said it. I didn't say a word about that.
It's a little bit about the hate.
No, I've told y'all. Like, I regretfully am like okay with Cincinnati being good because they've actually built up a team. They have a quarterback. They're not actually a quick hit type of team right now. They got a foundation.
8 teams remaining. Let's rank them right now.
I'm with it. These 7 and 8 were hard for me to choose.
It's hard for me to put them in an order when you got to that spot. Number 8 is for you.
Niners.
Me too. And it's because of Garoppolo. I like a lot of everything else.
Yep.
But it's Garoppolo.
And yeah. Defense is solid enough. If Warner's playing, maybe they go to 7. But him being on the sideline this last game is like, oh my God.
Yeah, they need him 100%, and I don't trust him not to make a big mistake against a team that's not Dallas.
Right.
That can then beat you because of that. I'll do 7. 7, I've got Cincy.
That's where I'm at.
And mainly, I could maybe have given them 6, but the injuries, because I'm looking at it as to where they are right now.
Yeah.
And the injuries hurt them bad.
To that D-line, yes, facts. And the reason they're above the 49ers, their quarterback actually make good decisions, other than he's making the job harder for his O-line.
And what's interesting is those are the 2 lowest seeds remaining, and they're both playing number 1 seeds. And we got them. So that's actually how it's supposed to work out.
It is.
When you look at it from a seed perspective. Number 6, Moan.
Bills.
I got the Rams 6.
Okay.
Just because I want to see Stafford versus Brady's. Not as much Stafford versus Brady. I want to see Stafford against that defense.
Yeah.
I want to see that offense and see if it's legit against Tampa's defense because they're peaking at the right time.
And to your same point, I want to see if the Bills can repeat. I wonder if they can strike again.
Totally agree.
I don't of these teams, I think the Bills are the most untrustworthy though.
I think the Rams are.
You think the Rams are? And I actually got them above them. I got Rams at 5.
I think the thing with the Bills is the Bills had a team that's been together, and the Rams went and got a bunch of mercenaries. And how is that going to work out as you get deeper into the playoffs?
That's true.
Even though I have them in the Super Bowl.
It looked like
before the season.
They found a recipe last night.
They may have. I got or actually you got 5. Who you got 5?
Yeah, I had Rams.
All right, I got Kansas City at 5.
Really?
Yeah.
So tell me, who was your 6 again?
Rams.
Rams are 6.
Yeah, you know where I'm going with this.
5. My 5 is Rams. My 6 is Bills.
I got Kansas City at 5 because I still don't trust that defense.
Okay.
Against a top flight offense that can do multiple things.
Wowzer. Yeah. I'm with you.
I like some pieces of that defense, but some I don't. And the other thing that's been kind of weird about the Chiefs this year is how often they've started slow. They cannot do that going forward or they're going to lose.
No. Yep. 4, Kansas City for me.
Who'd you say you? Who'd you say you had at 5?
I got
Rams.
Rams at 5. He moved his chair.
So I got
around.
Kansas City at 5.
Yeah.
Or I guess I can go first. I've got Buffalo at 4.
I got KC at 4.
I think Buffalo right now, top to bottom, is a better team that I feel scary just saying that about because they could easily lose. They're going to Kansas City. I just think as a team, Buffalo, right now the ceiling is very high.
Yeah. I don't know if it's that high right now. Like I said, I think they were just overly aggressive towards the Patriots, and they just ran down on them, period. They got to show me again.
Well, I agree with you.
And the way the Titans neutralized them last time, I don't know if I'm buying it.
Who do you have 3?
Tampa.
Me too.
Yep.
I could potentially put them 2, but their injuries hurt them bad. Godwin being out, Antonio Brown not being with the team anymore. This is the thing about Tampa, as Ron is in the room now.
Hey, he's in the building.
He's in the building. Number 3, Bucks, is almost like it's disrespectful because Tom Brady's just quietly thrown for 5,300 yards this year. Just almost under the radar.
You know what, though? In this last game, Tom had some misses that I wasn't okay with. I don't know what was bad about the start of the game for him, but he was missing a few. I'm just like, ooh, Tom, what's going on? And he's do it.
Well, he's got Brashad Perriman out there and he's got guys he's not as familiar with out there. But he's still winning.
That's true.
And if they were to win the Super Bowl, nobody's going to be shocked. It's just going to be another definitely greatest of all time moment.
There's Tom again.
Yeah, and the defense is nasty.
Yeah.
And they're starting to really show up. So that's got, where do you have two then?
Titans and then Green Bay.
Yeah.
Savage Life.
Car ain't got no roof.
What's going on, man?
Traffic is.
What's up, my brethren? Nah, let me tell y'all. Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all what, man. So Kodak Black got a new song, rapper, and it's called Super Gremlin.
Yeah.
So don't never hum that when coming out of your house to go to your car.
Why?
Because
you slip on the ice.
Hey man, I'm talking about 3 times.
Dude, what are you, Harry and Marv from Home Alone?
Dude, that black ice
trying to get in the front door.
Dude, that black ice for real, man. And it'll fool you because you think it's all good. And see, the silly sun came out. The silly sun came out and fooled me.
Still cold.
Yeah. Hey, man, I'm talking about, whoop, get up. You know what I mean? And then when I get back up, I'm like, oh, they got me with that one. Look around, make sure ain't nobody looking. Step again, whoop. And then I try to hold on to the car. Darn to pull my shoulder out.
broke the door off.
Hey, man, that black ice for real.
Hard times are real.
Hey, man. Man, for real.
Harry and Marv.
Possible wintry mix tomorrow night.
Hey,
not really an athlete.
Man,
Yeah.
piss down my leg. I'm talking about it's frozen piss down my leg.
Scam my way to this level.
Hey, man.
It's all being revealed in front of the nation.
Hey, man. Boy, woo. I'm hot in myself.
You should be.
And I said, you know what? And then see, you fool yourself because you hit the little automatic start, you know what I mean? Because the truck looking all warm. I just got to get on in the truck and ride on out.
Wrong.
Can't even get to the truck.
False.
Man, foolishness, man.
Yeah, don't let the smooth sun fool you.
Hey, man, it'll show play you. It'll show play you. Just like them stands at Vandy going to play Tennessee. Because ain't no students in the stands.
Oh, well, tell us about that, man.
They're not having them anymore for any home games, right?
Is it all the home games? I know it's in January for sure.
Of them.
I think it's about 6 of them, 4 to 6 in January.
They delayed their schooling, though, too. Because
Did they?
Yeah, they did. They got pushed back, I think, about 10 days or so.
Oh, that's what's up.
Started school.
Yeah, thank you, Vandy.
So, Slay, I just got to ask you, man. 107 points. I know that Kentucky scored 93 times this year, and they've got a top-flight offense. But Tennessee had the second-best defense in the country.
Yeah.
If they're not going to score, if Fulkerson's going to play passive with his hands behind his back, if Kennedy Chandler's going to seem like he's out there by himself, the defense can't give up 107 points. That's my expert college basketball analysis.
I'm going to tell you this, Jay. Man, so I went back and watched the game. I heard about it, everything. Honestly, it was worse hearing about than watching. Yeah. Because as an athlete, you go through plenty of games where, man, I'm telling you, the time can't get off that clock fast enough.
I've been there.
Man, I done been a part of it on the other end. Like, just burying somebody. Just boom, boom. Like, it ain't nothing you can do. And I'm telling them, it ain't nothing you can do tonight, man. Like, you might as well go into the bench, put the subs, the walk-ons in. It ain't nothing you can do tonight. And that's what it was, man, because Tennessee actually played good offensively. The problem with Tennessee is paying attention to the details.
Yeah.
Paying attention to the gambling in the backcourt with a guy like Ty Washington or Wheeler, who then breaks their offense down by getting in the gaps and kicking the wide open shooters because the help side got to come. It's a problem. Yep. You're getting them open shots, man. Anytime you're able to take routine shots, whether the ball is coming from under the rim, to a pass to a three-point shooter, or a guy dribbling in the gaps and kicking it out. Those are routine shots. You work on that. Now, anything skip passes and you got to take a dribble and pull up, that's different. But catch and shoot, man, you're in trouble. And then you let them get to their sweet spots. Ty Washington, that's where the kudos go to Kentucky. And I said Kentucky because y'all get respect this week.
That young man balled out on Saturday.
Man, but he got to everywhere he wanted to get to. Like, people say the mid-range game is dead. Not with him. That's what he was doing. And then you see the threes and stuff to start flowing. But the reason I say it's one of those nights, the big fella, Oscar, did a one-dribble 17-foot pull-up.
Yeah.
Like, we'll take that all day long.
Yeah.
Like, if he make it, Saville Wheeler hit 2 threes. Like, he don't even shoot like he think he gonna make it. But everything else is going in, so why not? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But the front court, man, it's been a problem. Olivier,
yeah,
we thought he could show up. He don't show up for big games.
Mm-hmm.
But the regular teams, Winthrops and people like that, like Gardner Webb and people, he going to put on the show. Western Kentucky. He going to put on the show. You know what I'm saying? Like, he good with that.
They beat us by 30. We're just fine.
This is a little jab.
Quick little jab.
Right. But, no, honestly, though, SEC opponents, the tape is out. What can you do when it's time to do it against them? Fulkerson, we saw 24-10 against Arizona.
Yep.
A top 5 team in the nation. Then you got COVID. Okay.
Yep.
Understandable.
Cool.
Give me the flu. Every single game of my career.
Yeah.
I'm not going to having 0 points as a starter.
And what do you have, like 1 attempt in the first half? It's like he wasn't even trying.
Like, what? Like,
to shoot, I mean.
Son, and I heard y'all talking about George Kittle.
Yeah.
You can impact the game in other ways. I'm not saying you got to go out there and get 30. But you got to have an impact on the game. You played 20 minutes and didn't do anything.
That's nasty, Ron.
Anything. Like, hey, man.
What did you – here's my question.
That's
horrible. Answer me
horrible.
this one. What did you come back for? To do what? Like, what exactly were you trying to accomplish?
The crowd.
NIL?
You know what I've always said? Like, when we all went to college, you just did your 4, your 5, and you was out. He's gotten 2 opportunities to come back. And he knew what he did the first 4 and not correcting it. If you send me back to UT right now, I'm changing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I'm going to have the same amount of fun, but I know what I need to do more of and less of.
Right.
And he's gotten that opportunity right now.
Yeah.
And I know it's the hometown hero and you love him. But, Ron, the same thing going to happen to you and Jay. The same thing going to happen to you if CG get out of line.
Yeah.
They're going to have to get it.
Yeah. It's part of it. And you got the backcourt finally playing well.
Yeah.
Kennedy playing good at the same time that Vescovi is, and Santi is. Josiah even played solid. Like, he shot the ball well. Then you got guys coming off the bench. Meshack, great energy. I saw it in the LSU game. That man can change. When you talk about impact in the game without scoring, he's that guy.
Yeah.
Euros, you're going to have to get more playing time. Huntley Hatfield, got to get more playing time. If it's not a shakeup in this lineup tonight.
Oh, tonight.
See, I want to say this, but until Vandy fans went at me. And then I started to realize.
That's only 4 people, right?
Yeah, I'll be all right. That's right. You know what I mean? But I do think you're moving ahead. Like, you got to pull one of them out the lineup, Olivier or Fulkerson, and put Euros in or Huntley Hatfield. They deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
They deserve it. You know what I'm saying? So he said he's been working good in practice. Huntley Hatfield, he's earned it. So let's see if he's thrust in that lineup and if he can deliver. One thing to be in there. Another thing to deliver.
That's one thing. Cousin Andrew in the chat just said, "Why aren't we playing 2 5-star big men?"
Yeah, and people take that 5-star stuff out.
Oh,
that's a 5-star in high school.
Okay.
That's what he was. He was a 5-star in high school. It's no 21, 22. Well, it better not be 21, 22-year-olds running around in high school. Your comparison of a 5-star, then you get moved to another level when you're playing against an older guy. That's not the same. You were playing against 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds in high school. You can be a 5-star against them. These are grown men. Some of them got kids. Some of them got NIL deals. Like, take that 5-star stuff out, man. That was good for high school. That's cool for rankings and recruiting and all. Once you get to college, it's scratch.
Okay.
Once you get to the pros, it's scratch. That was my problem. I went to Miami thinking, man, I'm All-American.
Yeah.
So? Rasul Butler, rest in peace. He been here. Sean Lampley been here. Sean Marks been here. What kind of I know? Udonis Haslam just came from overseas. All American. So what you done did here? Now D Wade.
Yeah, that's different.
I saw the world stop.
I like that your voice just trailed back down. It's just like we're in church now.
Hey, man, yeah. I was trying to figure out like what. Why'd y'all just stop practice when this man came in? And then he did a move. I said, that's who y'all talking about. That was the number 3 pick. Okay, all right.
The one we heard about.
Hey, man, the man did a move, man, and Stan Van Gundy said, hey, y'all, let's go to Orlando. Let's go play Summer League. this practice over.
For real?
I couldn't believe it. I said, yeah, this boy different.
Well, he wasn't wrong.
No, he wasn't wrong.
When we come back, I'm going to ask another.
God,
I'm going to ask the
serious.
other question that it's all over the place right now, and Moan kind of mentioned it yesterday. Rick Barnes, where are we here? We'll be right back. JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone.
Imagine if the first way we did things was the only way we did them, because somebody has told you, well, that's the way we've always done it, sir. Well, that's what happens when you sell your home. You list it and you got to keep the show ready, because you never know when somebody want to come in for a quick look. Or you have dozens of people marching through your home that may or may not be serious about buying. And this goes on and on and on and on until the right buyer comes along. Well, now that's all ended. And it's Ramon Foss, and I want to tell you what I did. I went to opendoor.com, and I put in my address and home info, and I got an offer back in no time. It was no listings, no strangers, and no stress. Open Door gives you a real competitive offer in minutes. Just go to opendoor.com/WGFX and get your free offer. Open Door is a new way to sell without all the hassles of a traditional home selling, and you'll know exactly what you are getting, and you can decide when you want to close. Go to opendoor.com/WGFX and get your free offer today. That's opendoor.com/WGFX. And offer eligibility varies. Open Door is represented by Open Door Brokerage, Inc., license 02061130 in California. Open Door Brokerage, LLC, and its other markets.
JMart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Guess what? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. 4 more sleeps before the Titans host the divisional playoff game against the Bengals. Which means for Ron Slay, about 19 more naps before we get to Saturday afternoon.
I might have to start doubling up on them too, Jay.
I've started the Ron Slay strategy of 2 naps a day if you can do it.
And it's a cold-blooded.
It's not bad.
I'm telling you, man.
Every time my eyes close, my daughter's like, I know you're not trying to nap on me.
I know. Wait, you better get up. Everybody get up.
Teething,
bang, bang, bang.
Teething is a real thing.
Yeah. I know it's different.
Bang, bang, bang. All right, so Rick Barnes, Ron.
Yeah.
He can't play the games.
No.
I don't know how responsible he is for what's going on, but I'm just curious what your thoughts on him are right now with this team.
I think with this team, what has to be taken into account is 7 freshmen on this team. And I think a lot of people have overlooked that because you have a guy that's come back in a super senior in Fulkerson who's all SEC performer, Josiah Jordan-James, who at some point has to take that next step. And then when you start talking about a guy like Kennedy Chandler, who probably is going to be a one and done, you think like, man, they can get it over the hump, but you still got to have something built there. You got to have a foundation to fall back on, excuse me. And if you got that foundation to fall back on, then it's not a problem. You get through the tough games, the LSU games, and you don't get ran out of there by Kentucky, even though they just shot the lights out. I think that's just an anomaly. But
crazy.
Yeah, but I've seen their practices. I've seen how he talks to the kids. I've seen how their relationship is off the court. I don't think he has enough of the dogs, or if the dogs that he has, they're not playing. Does he need to deliver on something? The something is the question. Like, what are we expecting? Are we expecting a national championship out of Rick Barnes?
I mean, he's never done it before.
You know what I'm saying? Who has at Tennessee? You feel what I'm saying? Like, outside of Pat Summitt and Phil Fulmer, like, what do we like? That, I think that's the thing. Do you just want to be in the upper echelon of the SEC where they have been?
But that was Baylor for a while.
That was Baylor.
That was Baylor for a while.
Baylor.
You know what I'm saying?
So I think when you start to look at the money that's invested in him, I think that's the biggest thing because he's one of the highest paid in college basketball.
Okay, but the conversations on social media this weekend was, of course, what Jay said, and when we brought it up, like, well, what's Rick? What are we gonna do with Rick? And I don't really think nobody want to get rid of him. But the idea of, to your point, well, what's the expectations? Do you fly high?
There you go. What are you bringing in?
That's the other thing. It's just like a lot of SEC coaches that were really good in football lost their job because they couldn't beat Nick Saban.
Yeah.
And then they were replaced by coaches that also couldn't beat Nick Saban, who were then replaced by, like, Kevin Sumlin lost his job at Texas A&M for going 8-4 over and over and over again.
There you go.
But 8-4 is a success in a lot of programs. So the question is, like, historically, Tennessee, whether it's Konzo or any of the guys that they've had, it's just like they've been right around the Mendoza line. They've been like right around 500, somewhere in there, maybe 18 wins, 19 wins. So are you cool being this team that's sort of in the mix and at least part of the discussion if it never amounts to a Final Four run or an Elite Eight run?
Y'all ask that all the time when you talking about, do you want to win a championship or do you want to be a team or franchise that's going to be right there in the thick of things all the time? They're right there in the thick of things all the time. Like, they're top 3 every time. I mean, outside of the COVID year. But you look at guys, when you look around the SEC, and it being one of the best conferences in the nation in basketball also, as well as football. Then you look at guys like Ben Howland, who has he know what to do.
Yeah.
He ain't getting it done yet either. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Tom Crean, the same thing in Georgia. He ain't getting it done either. Mike White knocking on the door a lot. He ain't getting it done either. Frank Martin got South Carolina there when he had the players. I mean, outside of Cal with Anthony Davis, like, I think any of us could have sat in that seat and won the national championship with that team.
Do you think it's part and parcel of the idea that, like, Musselman came in and Arkansas stepped up, Nate Oates comes in and Alabama steps up? So, like, you've got everybody that's getting better around you. So the conference is better, but then you're like, Well, you can't fall behind Arkansas.
Right.
You can't fall behind Alabama.
Right.
You can still stay behind Kentucky, but when everybody else gets better around you and you're sitting 4th and 5th in the conference, then it looks worse optically.
Yep. And I you look at it like, then you ask yourself, like, the expectations for Musselman this year. Now you're asking, man, what's going on at Arkansas?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, if you're going –
and that's where I was going to go next. Of those coaches you just named that stepped it up, who you actually believe can win a national?
There you go. Outside of Cal.
I mean, what? Alabama's lost like 3 or 4 or 4 or 5.
Nate Olsen and went sliding. They came in on a high. Then they just been going downhill. Alabama's now out of the top 25.
But we
Tennessee's still in the top 25.
We know we toxic, though.
Oh, yeah. Fans, y'all need to calm down. Because, all right, okay. Go and get some. Who you want to go get in there? That's what I want to know. I seen the switch happen. I seen go from Jerry Green to Buzz Peterson. Yeah, y'all don't like Jerry Green. And what he do, you bring Buzz Peterson in there, we ain't go back to the tournament. You brought Bruce in. Bruce having a phenomenal year in Auburn. But what have they won, too, though?
And now also more sanctions.
So we're just going to talk right through the outro. We're just going to talk, and then all of a sudden something's going to hit. Slay's back at 3. 3
Buffalo Wild Wings, man. Y'all come mess with us, get hype, man.
Which B-Dubs? Franklin. That's right out by us.
Yeah.
Get you some
CG making an appearance this afternoon.
Big Southford to be in the building.
For Ramon and Jonathan, I'm Jason. We'll do it again tomorrow. Scout meeting Wednesday plus Robert Mays.
We'll be good. And remember, your Twitter fingers and your mic are always hot.
I can feel it all the way down in my plums.
Imagine if the first way we did things was the only way we